Discipline is the key to success. If you cannot force yourself to do something you don't want to do, how are you ever going to put yourself through the suffering required for greatness? If you cannot force yourself to train when you do not want to train, if you cannot force yourself to work when you don't want to work, if you can't force yourself to not log into Pornhub or force yourself to eat right, how can you possibly ever become a monumentally successful person if you cannot control yourself long enough to do what must be done as opposed to what you feel like doing? The only people who get to live their lives based on how they feel are women and children. Children can cry because they feel like crying, as can a woman. A woman can start an argument because she feels like arguing, as can a child. A man must do what he is supposed to do irregardless of how he feels. That is the key component to masculinity, is discipline. If you do not have the discipline to dedicate yourself to anything, you are going to fail and be crushed by the people who can. If you only go to the gym when you feel like going to the gym, you're never going to be as strong as the people who go to the gym when they don't feel like going to the gym. That is a reality of life. So I train every single day. I've actually heard from some people saying, you overtrain. And I explained to them, one, I don't believe in rest. I'm not you. I'm not pussy and I'm not broke like you are, Mr. Fitness Trainer, standing around the gym teaching people for $50 an hour. I don't need to listen to you. Secondly, I don't train because I want to get bigger. I train every day because it is difficult to train every day. It hurts. I don't want to. I wake up and I'm busy. I have other things to do. I don't feel like doing it. So I force myself to do it 7 days a week, 365 days a year, so that I know I'm the kind of person who can do what he doesn't want to do when it needs to be done. I am that man. And it is more of a mental exercise than a physical exercise at this point. How can you ever outcompete me if I can force myself to do the things I don't want to do and you cannot? Discipline is absolutely essential for success, and you need to get very comfortable and very used to the idea of understanding that on your path to greatness, there are going to be long periods of time where you hate what you are doing, where you are dissatisfied with the actions you must undertake, where you are tired, where you are stressed. That is why it is difficult. That is why most people won't make it. If the path was easy, everybody would walk it and it would lead nowhere. 100 people start the path, 99 fall off because it is difficult, and the one person who makes it to the end gets the gold. If all 100 made it to the end and the gold was divided by 100, it wouldn't even be worth anything. The difficulty gives it value. The fact that it is difficult to do is the key component into the fact you want it in the first place. If it wasn't difficult, everyone would have it and you wouldn't want it because no one would respect it. It's supposed to be hard. Life is supposed to be hard. You're supposed to think this is terrible. You're supposed to suffer and smile through the pain regardless. Discipline is the key to success in all realms as a man. And if you lack it, you stand no chance. You can give most people a roadmap to success. You can give them a Ferrari with a full tank of gas, and a lot of people still wouldn't make the destination because they would say the drive is too far away. Quitters, they don't have the discipline. You can tell them exactly how to do it. You can give them the mechanism to get there, but they don't have the discipline to complete the drive and end up at the destination. That is the majority of Earth. This is your competition. People who, even if they are told what to do and people tell them exactly how to do it and help them do it, still quit, still fail because they lack discipline. Even me, with my monumental powers, I can't make a quitter successful. It doesn't matter how good I am. It doesn't matter how easily I make it for them to succeed. It doesn't matter how compendious and concise and powerful the real world is. It doesn't matter how much I text them and motivate them, how many emergency meetings I do to try and talk to them and hype them up, how much motivation I give them. It doesn't matter what I do. If they are a quitter, guess what they're going to do? They're going to quit. No matter how simple the map is to read, no matter how fast a Ferrari is, somewhere along the drive, the sun's going to get in their eyes, and they're going to sit there and go, I don't like this, this is hard, and they're going to quit. Quitters are the number one type of people that nobody can help. If you're a quitter, I can't help you. Life can't help you. God himself cannot help a quitter. So if you lack discipline, you lack the very basic building block to any type of success which exists on the planet. By every single metric which can be measured with science, you are going to stay a loser and a failure. The key is to keep training. If you train hard every single day, you don't have to worry about a little bit of vitamin C.
It's true.
If you don't train and you don't smoke, you're still going to be a pussy.
Yes.
The answer is always hard work. As soon as you are granted life, you are guaranteed death. What you do in between is up to you. You are all conscious. That could end tomorrow, that could end in 100 years. But the time between the beginning of your consciousness and the end of it is completely up to you. Training is never the wrong decision. If you're in jail, you should train. If you are free, you should train. If you are rich, you should train. If you are poor, you should train. If you smoke, you should train. If you don't smoke, you should train. If you drink, you should train. If you don't drink, you should train. You cannot escape that hard work is always the correct decision. There is no time in any scenario when working hard is going to be the wrong answer. You should always try your very best in all things. I will smoke 10 cigars a day and beat the shit out of you because I train harder than you can possibly fathom. Pain is an extremely important part of the equation. Pain is the elixir of success. When people say this bad thing happened to me and I'm suffering, I say good. It is pain which is required. It's one of the elements in the chemical reaction. If the chemical reaction requires 5 particular distinct compounds and you have 4 and you're missing 1, it simply doesn't work. Pain for a man is one of the most important elements in becoming successful. Batman is Batman because they killed his parents. If they did not kill his parents, he would not be Batman. You're supposed to suffer. You're supposed to take that pain. The worst thing that can happen to you as a man is you live a life with no pain in it. To be born into a rich family and have a nice, easy life and be given money and you don't have to go to the gym and not have to train because you have bodyguards and sit around like a fuck up. You're going to be miserable and unhappy and a drug addict buying prostitutes. You're only going to have women who adore you. You're only going to feel confident in yourself and feel happy when you've been through hell and come out the other side. The pain is required. And you'll often notice that people who are better than you are people who have suffered more than you have suffered. So the person who is waiting for you, he requires your motivation. It also requires huge amounts of pain. So when bad things happen to you, do not sit at home and lament. Do not feel sorry for yourself. Instead, look in the mirror and say, thank you, God, for giving me one of the ingredients that is needed for the chemical concoction that is going to turn me into a superhero. Because pain is an extremely important one. In fact, it's one of the most important ones for a man. Everything is war. All of it. Sitting in the commute without losing your patience is war. Trying to find a way to escape your slave job is war. Keeping your wife happy and your children inspired is war. Training to become stronger than before is war. It is all war, and it cannot be avoided. And I'll tell you why it's war, because war is 2 opposing sides trying to achieve the same goal. 2 opposing sides want the same land or the same influence over X land. And the car you want, the Ferrari, you're not the only person who wants it. The reason it's so expensive is because others people want it. The girl you want, the beautiful woman, everyone wants her. It is war. It is competition. Everything about life as a man is war. It is conflict because you are competing against the other men who want it the same, which is why discipline is such an important thing, which is why you must take the pain and add it to the concoction to become as formidable as possible. Life is war. This idea that you can go through life as a man and avoid war is probably the biggest mistake that most men make, because it is impossible for you to achieve anything significant without war. Running a business is war. Running a hotel, running a restaurant, running an online company, it's war. Training is war. Life as a man is war. You need to wake up and view it exactly as what it is. Everything I want, other people want. Everything I desire, other men are trying to get. This is a war and I must outcompete them. That is the best possible mental model you can have. Even in jail, it was a war for who could stay most calm. A war who could control their mind the best. A war for who could suffer the least. That is war. I was surrounded by people who lost their minds and I refused. It was a battle and I was successful. Life in and of itself as a man is a never-ending struggle and a never-ending battle. It is the constant of the human condition. Evolution requires pain. While others complain that they do not feel happy enough, I'm happy I'm struggling. I don't want to be happy. I want to be great. This is the beauty of life as a man. Do you understand? I don't care. I'm happy to be struggling. I wanted to fight. You wanted to win. I wanted to fight. That's the difference. You're concerned with winning. I wanted to just fight. And we're fighting. That is the beauty of life as a man, to be great. If you concern yourself only with being happy, you are once again acting like a female or a child. Happiness is fleeting. It doesn't even matter if you're concerned only with the hedonism of happiness. You're going to drink alcohol and go to parties and go to festivals and take drugs. I want to be happy. Who cares? I want to be great. I want to be great all of the time. And let me ask you a question as a man at home, genuinely, truthfully. Would you rather be a loser who's always smiling a happy loser, or would you rather be a stressed winner? Because I'll tell you something about winners. Most of them are stressed.
We are stressed.
We're stressed. Putin is stressed. Genghis Khan was stressed when his messenger turned up after a 4-week ride with updates from the battlefront of Iran. I'm sure he was stressed by what he read. Even if it was very good, even if it all looked fantastic, he started to feel stressed. Okay, well now maybe I need to go to Iran. How long is it going to take me to get there? Maybe we need to send more horses. Maybe we need to colonize Iran. He felt stress because the beauty of life as a man is to be great. So you have to sit here and ask yourself, do you want to be a happy loser that's insignificant? Nobody knows you exist. Women don't respect you. Men don't respect you. Nobody cares if you live or die, but you get to smile all the time. Or do you want to be one of the most important people on the planet with a little bit of stress? I am brilliant because I've decided to be brilliant. And if I have to sacrifice happiness to be brilliant, then that's fine. You know what the great thing about it is? You know, it's amazing what God gives, how the whole world becomes full circle. If you stop caring about being happy and you start caring instead about being great, guess what you end up being?
Great.
Along with great.
And you know what? Yeah.
Happy. You end up happy if you forget about happiness and try to become great. You will never be successful if you're concerned about being happy, so forget about it. I like to consider myself a wise old man, and I'm trying my best to encourage and instigate a revolution amongst the youth where men take absolute self-accountability and they believe in themselves and they take responsibility for absolutely everything. As a man, you are most formidable if everything is your fault. If it rains outside and you get wet, that is still your fault. Can you control the rain? No. Could you have brought an umbrella? Yes. You need to blame yourself for all things, the good and the bad. And by doing this, you take absolute self-accountability, which allows you to build a mental model in which you will find solutions, 1. 2, avoid trouble, because you know that anything bad happens to you is your fault. And 3, be the most fearsome competitor possible, because we're living in a very competitive world nowadays amongst the elites. The people who understand that you're living inside of a fish tank are trying very hard to get out. And you have to make sure that you can outrun some of them if you want to escape. It's an age-old adage. If a bear is chasing a group of people, you do not have to be the fastest one. You just have to be faster than the slowest. The slowest person is going to die. So as long as you're ahead of the majority of people, you stand a very good chance of avoiding slavery. Being a powerful man isn't always about furious anger and instilling fear. As enemies attempt to attack your energy and lower your vibration, understand this: power is untouchable. Power may notice, but it doesn't care. Sometimes power is simply not giving a fuck. Being a powerful man isn't always about furious anger and instilling fear, meaning sometimes it is. You need to retain the capability to instill fear with furious anger. A man who cannot do that is not a man. It is one of the cards you need to have in your deck. However, more often than not, when you're in a true position of power, you will play the alternate card, which I'm describing here, as simply not caring. How can you not give a fuck about things? Well, I'll tell you how. If you're filthy rich and you have a strong network of people around you who you trust, and you have a good family, and you have beautiful children, you have women who love you, and you have beautiful supercars, you live with your best friends in a compound, you have armed guards, and you're proud of yourself, and you're strong, and you train hard every day, and you're monumentally successful, and all of your dreams come true. And if you want something, you can instantly snap it up. You want a Pagani, you want a Bugatti, you want a $25 million apartment, anything you want, you buy. It's very easy to not give a shit about the opinions of people who don't have one fraction of your success. And what these people are trying to do is drag me, I'm using me as an example, but we can also use it for you. When you have true power, they're trying to drag you down. They're not trying to elevate themselves. They're trying to drag you down, which is a very different thing, because it's amazing how God rewards those who are trying to build and create and elevate, and how it punishes those who are simply trying to destroy and be spiteful and negative. And these people are going to dedicate hours and hours and millions of hours of their life towards a certain cause.
Thank you.
To try and drag people down who they cannot affect because they're already too powerful and too large. And they're wasting their own human experience, and they're not progressing or advancing themselves in any way. They will stay brokies, and we will stay rich forever. So the lesson here is that you need to get to a position where ignoring people is a move in which you're guaranteed success. You can ignore people completely and they are benefiting you. And that comes from a position of power. And I think a lot of you at home right now, you may not be in our position, but if you're already working hard, you're already going to the gym, you're already training, you make sure that you're getting as much muscles as possible, as much money as possible, you're dedicated, you don't sleep in, you don't waste your time, you don't smoke weed, you don't play video games, you're focused on trying to become fantastic as a person. You can just ignore that girl. That girl who broke your heart or cheated on you, just ignore her. The most powerful move you can make is ignore her. Yeah, you could yell at her. Yeah, you could try and make her scared of you, blah, blah, right? That's not going to work. The powerful move is just to completely ignore her because you're on your ascent. She is likely on her descent. She likely has no intention of improving herself, no intention of becoming richer, no intention of becoming better looking. Time is against her. As she gets older, she's going to lose her looks. You're going to continue your ascent, and she's going to have to watch you for the rest of her life be the man that she could have been with that she's no longer good enough for. The best thing you can do is simply ignore her. That is the powerful move. And it's the same with also men. It's not even a gendered argument. There's men who want to be your friends right now, who wanted to be your friend, and they did something wrong to you. And if you're on the right path doing the right things, karma, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, is going to teach them a lesson for simply failing to be a good person to you while they had the chance. But when you have a whole bunch of money, you take care of the people you love. And that's the masculine prerogative. And even my brother and I, anyone who's been loyal to us, who's on our team, we monumentally reward. And everyone who ever displayed cowardice or sold us out or made mistakes massively regrets it because they see how well we treat the people who are close to us. If you lack somewhere, excel somewhere else. Counter your weaknesses by honing other capabilities. If you're ugly, become filthy rich. If you're poor, be as strong as an ox. Life is unfair. The primary focus of your energies is to balance the books.
And there's two different ways you could interpret that. You can, obviously, increase the attributes that you are lacking. If you have the ability to train, because a lot of people don't. Some people are born without arms and legs, but you, with 2 arms and 2 legs, are sitting at home jerking off the Pornhub, flabby and fat. If you have the ability to train, you should be doing it. But also, there are some things that some people are just better at, and you can counteract that problem by teaming up with people who compensate for your weaknesses. People who are strong in areas where you are weak, and you team up with people where you are strong in areas where they are weak. I don't think between the people in this house and our group of friends, we lack anything.
Correct.
Anything. Correct. Literally anything. We can sit as a group and have a conversation about anything with anyone in the world and give useful insight and change people's lives for the better, because although I am not perfect, our team compensates one for each other.
And that's the point of brotherhood. So excel in one area if you lack in others. I have people say to me, Andrew, I'm short. What do I do? I'm short. Okay, God made you short. Fine. Good. Doesn't matter. You can't change it. What you can do is become as strong as an ox and become filthy rich and monumentally important and extremely influential. You can do that. People say, I'm poor. You should be strong. Oh, I'm strong, but I don't have any money. Okay, then teach others to be strong.
Yes.
There's always a way you can take your advantages and use them. And by teaming up with other men, other people, you can build a team in which there are no weaknesses. So if you have a disadvantage, you also have somewhere God has given you a distinct advantage over others. And it is your duty to excel in that realm. It is your duty to become so monumentally influential and powerful within that specific criteria in which you have the capability to be brilliant, that your weaknesses no longer appear because they can be simply overshadowed by your network or overshadowed by your absolute competence. By constructing the correct mindset, you can be in the exact same scenario you're currently in, living the exact same life with a different mental model in which you view the world, and you will not only feel more powerful, you will be more powerful, you'll achieve more amazing things, you will be greater, you will be happier with the same car, the same woman, the same house, the same income, the same everything, but your mind changes the lens in which you view the world. Lenses change things. Rose-tinted glasses, perhaps dark glasses. You can put glasses on, change the lens, and you can view the world differently by changing how your mind is constructed and put together and the way you view the world. That is the point of mental Aikido. I hope this pisses you off, because I'm telling you to annoy you, that you're sitting there struggling to pay your bills. There are people out there making so much money you couldn't possibly fathom, who have anything they want all of the time. And you may sit there and go, oh, but they're miserable. A lot of them aren't. Trust me, they're having a great time. So you need to make a bunch more money because there's money everywhere. I'd look at a beautiful woman and go, I can go on a date with her and she's absolutely gorgeous and perhaps we'll fall in love and it'll be great. But you know what? I'd rather work. I just want to conquer the earth. I don't care about anything else. So you need to start identifying how your money is taken from you. Because once you identify how your money is taken from you, you can start to actually intelligently think about how you can take money from other people. The only time being a man ever is good is if you become an exceptional man. He understood. Be near the money. I have no money. Money's over there. Well, let me get closer to it. Like, no point staying over here on my fucking own. Let me at least get closer to it. That was a 17-year-old kid. Money for us is a tool to shape the world. And I think that's what a lot of people also don't understand about being rich. You don't want to be rich. You want to be powerful. That's what really is going to satisfy you in your soul. It's the power. It's not the, I can afford this, that. That's nice for a while. But really what makes you happy is there's 60 of these Bugattis on earth. Everyone wants one. Who gets one? I do. Because you can't have one. That's the fun of it, right? So it's power you're truly chasing. And if you want to be powerful, you can't be scared to invest money and spend money. A lot of people at home, if they want to make more money, need to invest in themselves. Yeah. They invest in themselves. And maybe they've been taught, well, if I just save. Let me say to everyone here at home, if you are saving less than 10 grand a month and you're just saving, your chance of being rich is fucking zero. You need to go and do something else and make more. Invest in yourself. Get knowledge, pay attention to mentors, start another business, open something. You need to do something because you're not going to save your way to the top. The average person at home, you're not earning enough to ever save. If you never save 100% of your wage, you're still going to be broke. You have to get to a level of earning.
When I found out about I just learned about how they print money. I literally could not believe it.
Oh yeah, money's not real.
For 3 days, I'm sitting around, so I'm like, what the fuck is this? So they could just print this shit?
Money is not real. It's not real. They just print it. It's not real.
Fair. Please continue.
Yeah, so money's not real. And I say that to people. And they
so
go,
it's not about money.
No, it's not about money. So what's it about? It's about power and control.
Yeah.
So I've been from the absolute bottom to the absolute top. I've seen it all. And once you get past a certain level of wealth, once you get past a certain level of money, but then you understand what money is, right? So we say about money not being real. Money is not real from a governmental perspective because they just print it. It's nothing. But money is truthfully the stored time and energy of other people. If you have money, you have stored time and energy of other humans.
Because people are hourly rates.
That's right. Because I can take that money and make someone else use their time and energy for X thing. So let's look at even American slavery, the slavery that most Americans understand. You're going to work for me. I'm going to give you a house and I'm going to give you food and you're going to stay here and you're going to work. Slavery is abolished. So now what do? You're going to work for me. I'm going to give you that. I'm going to give you some money. And that money is enough to only buy you a house and some food. We've just put money in the middle. Now, if I can make you do whatever I want for money, and I can print as much money as I want, you're my slave. Because I can print it from the sky and you need it to live. So you are my slave. Money's not real. So I have all of this money. I have the stored time and energy of other humans. And once you get past a certain level of wealth, you understand, which ties back to COVID, that you're not interested in money. What you're interested in is people. It's always been about having good people around you. You want a beautiful, doting, loving woman who's obsessed with you. You want good brothers who will stand by you and make you motivated. You want bodyguards who are going to protect you. You want people. And then you want to look at it further down the rabbit hole. You want to get more sinister. If you've been born into a lineage or a dynasty or the people who control the world, you want people, you want robot people. You don't want to be spoken to disrespectfully. In your empire, in your podcast empire, right? You now have a podcast. Would you allow a member of staff to come along and say, this is bullshit. I don't like how you do this. This is shit. You're shit. Or would you fire him?
I don't know if I would fire them. I would first try to teach them how to behave.
And if they didn't listen?
They're out.
Absolutely. So let's imagine you ran a country.
Okay.
All right. Let's imagine you ran the world. So I say this to people. I say for the next 2 weeks, every time you spend money, even if it's a pound, write down how they got it from you. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, all right, cool. You're walking down the street. You're going to Starbucks. You buy a coffee. Why did they take your money? Well, I wanted coffee. Yeah, but how? Okay, you wanted coffee, right? Cool. Did you only want a coffee because you saw Starbucks, or did you want coffee beforehand? Why did you want their coffee and not another coffee? Did you buy a cake as well? Why did you buy a cake? All right, cool. So now you identified how they took your money. Then realize how they could have took more of your money. You bought a cake, but you didn't buy a sandwich. Why? The sandwiches weren't on display, or they looked cold, or they looked rubbish. Or the woman who was serving me was old and ugly. Maybe she was a young cutie and talked to me about bologna sandwiches. I would have bought one. Right? So you need to start identifying how your money is taken from you. Because once you identify how your money is taken from you, you can start to actually intelligently think about how you can take money from other people. I find it amazing when people say they don't have motivation. I have people come to me and say, I want to get rich. I don't have motivation. I want to work harder. I said, how can you not have motivation to get rich when somebody like me with a head start like mine is still working 18-hour days every single day, 7 days a week without having a day off? I'm going to crush you. You don't stand a chance. I will beat you. And you're just going to sit there and perpetually lose because you can't find the motivation to crawl up out the mud and stay a bug until you end up in your 15-minute city getting your 17th injection like a dummy, like a useless eater. All I do is work. Nothing is fun. I don't have fun. I don't even understand
sports.
I don't understand the concept of fun. The only sport I ever did was beating the shit out of people. Is that fun?
By the way, hit the like button and follow my YouTube channel. The next episode with Elon Musk is coming.
I wake up every day and I think, how do I make my life better? Nobody else wakes up each day and goes, how do I make Andrew Tate's life better? So if you're not the person who's waking up every day going, how do I improve my existence? Then nobody is. Nobody on the planet is considering improving your one spin on Earth.
No one else cares.
Nobody else cares. So if you don't care, then you're fucked. So you need to wake up and care. And it's amazing to me, like you're saying, how did I find my mentors? I just tried a bunch of them. Like when I had no money, I would try very hard I'd listen to lots of different people, or I'd try different things. And I wasn't scared to invest in myself, because I understand that, look, if he's taking time out of his life, then I need to reward him for it financially. And I tried very hard, and I listened, and I paid attention, and I was never lazy. I don't believe there's a person on the planet who pays attention, tries their best, is never lazy, is on time, works hard, has a mentor, and is giving it his all, who isn't rich. I don't believe it. I think that if you do all those things, you're rich. And if you don't have any money, you're missing one of those key elements. Now you can fool yourself and you can fool everyone else and you can pretend you're doing them, but if you're truly honest with yourself, am I finding people who are trying to teach me what I want to know, and am I trying my best? And the answer is fucking no every time.
Just even being around people with money, it's just a good place to be. I'll give you an example. I was in Romania and I have the largest car collection probably in Romania. I have 28 supercars, everything you can name. And I went to a town called Cluj-Napoca. It's on the border of Hungary. And I drove there in my Chiron and I parked up, and a kid came up and he said, hey, can I take some photos of your car? I have a car spotting page. I was like, yeah, whatever, cool. And he goes, yeah, okay, I'll just be a few minutes to this. So he took a bunch of photos and he come up to me and goes, hey, do you want the photos? And I was like, not really, I've already have photos. And he goes, oh yeah, okay. Well, if you want them, here's my email address. And I said to him, why do you do this? Like, you spend all day standing around taking photos of other people's cars. Is that not a waste of time? I thought it was a waste of time, but I was wrong. He goes, oh, well, I skipped school and I skipped college because I knew if I take pictures of expensive cars and email them to people, I'll have email addresses of the richest people in Romania.
Yeah, smart.
I was like, you're clever. I ended up hiring him. He works for me now.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, I like you. He got himself a full-time job that day. So he understood, be near the money. I have no money. Money's over there. Well, let me get closer to it. Like, no point staying over here on my fucking own. Let me at least get closer to it. That was a 17-year-old kid. Now he's making 10 grand a month in Romania from me. So like, at least being closer to it. So that you're right. People should, even if they haven't got a penny in the world, should be going to these meetings about real estate, about investing, that especially if it's cheap, they should go. Just meet other people who at least have money. Have conversations about money. Talk about it. How are you going to get what you don't talk about?
Okay. When I'm sitting there and saying to men, look, life as a man is shit. It's always been shit. It's never been good. When men wake up and say, I'm depressed and life is hard and I'm sad and I'm struggling right now, I say, okay, throughout history, men have always struggled. Happiness is for children and women. Name a time in history it was better to be a man. Was it better to be a man in World War II? Was it better to be a man on the Titanic? Was it better to be a man in the Napoleonic Wars? Was it better to be a man when you were sitting in Vienna and the Mongol horde arrived, ready to decapitate any male and enslave all the females? When's it ever been good to be a man? Building the pyramids, was that fun? It's always sucked. The only time being a man ever is good is if you become an exceptional man, which is even something feminists admit, because feminists sit and complain about men and say, well, men have this, men have that, but they're talking about 2% of men.
Fascinating.
They don't talk about all men. They say men have the best jobs. 2% of men have the best jobs. Most men carry trash. So you're talking crap. So everyone accepts that the best possible human experience that exists is the top 2% of men. Anything below that sucks as a man. You're better off being a chick. So what I say to men is, look, life's hard. It's always going to be hard. It's always going to suck. It always has. The only way to get out is to become excellent and perform at a level where your echelon is so high that you get to live this brand new experience. You need to become strong and smart and interesting and charismatic. You need to become rich, powerful, well-known, connected. You need to do it.
But can all men do that?
No.
So, okay.
But I have to tell them the truth. When people come along to me and say, my life's shit, and I look at them and go, yes. I think a lot of the problem with people, especially in the world today, is they misunderstand the difference between a dream and a plan. And nothing good in your life is ever going to happen by accident. If you see a guy in fantastic shape, you don't say, how'd you get in great shape? And he goes,
it just happened.
Oops, I just fell. No, he ate a specific way. He trained a specific time. He did specific things for a specific outcome. And it's the same with finances. And most people who are broke, if you say, do you want to be rich? Yeah, I want to be rich. How are you going to get rich? one day
I'll win the lottery.
Yeah, dumb shit. You have no plan. You have no plan whatsoever, no actionable steps. No, you're not doing things daily. You're just hoping some point in the future God's going to just dump it on your doorstep. Guess what? It ain't going to fucking happen. And unless you have a plan, a specific plan, I'm sure you guys had you had a plan and you worked hard to get to your points. I had a plan. Everything was like, okay, today we have to do day after day after day until you get there. And this is what most people don't have because they're too arrogant or too lazy. I don't think it's stupid. I think most people, if you laid out a plan and they tried their very best and they were willing to learn, could do it. I don't think people are too stupid to make money. They're just too lazy or too arrogant to make money. That's the problem with people.
A lot of people are obsessed with the idea of happiness. And especially as a man, I think that happiness can actually be a very destructive motivator. And when men sit and say, I want to be happy, I want to feel happy. To feel happy, a lot of the time, you're looking for temporary hedonism. To be happy, you want to get drunk or take drugs or do something stupid temporarily, and it's very short-lived. I think you should instead be looking as a man to say, I want to feel proud. If you choose pride over happiness, you're going to make decisions that you're proud of and that people around you are proud of, and it's going to be better for yourself and better for society and better for everyone who loves you, everyone you care about. If you're the kind of person who searches for happiness, whether male or female, in my experience, people who search for happiness end up doing hedonistic, temporary, stupid things. When I find men who search to feel proud of themselves, I want people to be proud of me, and I want to be proud of myself, and I want to be respected. They often delay happiness. They often go through very difficult things and build things which are beautiful or build things which are difficult to do. They often go to the other side of fear to feel that pride. I did it. I faced my fear. I did it.
Yeah.
So I think as a man, searching for pride or searching to feel proud is a pretty positive mindset for masculine achievement.
The reason I'm the luckiest man on earth is because God has given me endless building blocks to build a superhero. He's given me endless power. He's given me endless motivation. What did we say?
Yeah.
He's given me I have endless sources of power. I can sit here right now and recall events that will prevent me from sleeping for 2 to 3 days. That gives me a superpower that other men do not have. They want to go to sleep. They're tired. I can stop being tired for days at a time. I can just have a thought. I can remember, I can sit, close my eyes, and use the power of my brain to vividly remember events, and I will not sleep for days. And when people come to me and say, oh, this happened, I'm really sad, or my heart broke, or this bad thing happened to me, I say, good. Thank the Lord that he's given you this endless source of motivation. You're wasting it. Yeah. That's your problem. But it's been given to you. Nitrous oxide has been given to you. You just have to use it in the correct way. So I'm the luckiest man in the world because all the bad things that happened to me have given me all the building blocks to become the most fantastic man on the face of the planet. I don't ever sit and concern myself with, am I spending too much? If I thought I was spending too much, I would simply find a way to make more money. And a lot of people talk about efficiency as well. I've had people talk about working smart, not hard. That is true. But I believe that you need to fill your day with all of the hard work first. I think that working smart is a matter of being more efficient with all the time you should spend working. If you sit there and go, I want to work smart, not hard, so I work an hour a day, well, then you're still lazy. You should work smart and hard and do 15 smart hours a day. That's how you win.
I was talking to a young guy the other day, and he was 22, I think, and he caught a crypto pump. He made like $4 million in the last bull run, and now all the coins have gone down, whatever. He sold some. He has like 1.5 million. He's like, oh yeah, so I'm waiting for the next pump. I was like, bro, the problem with you is you've now been ruined for life because you're 22, you made easy money, and you think that you don't have to ever do any serious work. You also have no skill. Problem is with the crypto pump, it doesn't teach you anything. You didn't learn sales, marketing, staff management, stress tolerance.
You need that.
Nothing. He doesn't know how to do anything. So he's just sitting there just gambling on shit coins, waiting for the next one to pump. And he's 22, and his ass is never going to want to get a real job, and he doesn't have any skills. So I think he's in a lot of trouble, truthfully. I made this clear to him. So it can be a detrimental thing. It can be a bad thing. But in terms of making money, it's certainly easier than it's ever been because we live in a global marketplace now. You can reach the world, and all you have to do is have a message worth making people listen to.
And it truly is the abundance mindset is true. I remember when I was broke. I thought everyone was broke.
You do.
Because I was broke.
100%.
And then you get rich and you start thinking, shit, everyone has money. Every supercar I want is sold out. Every diamond watch I want is sold out. The private jet charters are full. The yachts are full. As soon as you get rich, you start
Who are all these people that got money? Who are they?
I was just in Dubai and my houses are being built. They're going to be completed this year. I bought a bunch of them off plan. So I decided to rent. And I rented a house on the Palm. It's $25,000 a day, dollars. And I rented it. And I'm sitting there and the landlord comes and goes, I just got an offer for $35,000 a day. You need to leave. And I go, okay, well, I'll pay 40,000 a day. And then he came back and goes, the guy's offered 50,000 a day for a year. And I'm like, who am I even in a bidding war with? And I just left. I was like, you know what? Take it. I'll get another one. But like, there's people out there with money like you couldn't fucking fathom. There is so much money in the world. So you do get to a level of wealth. Another time it hit me, I was at Monaco. I was sitting around dinner in Monaco after, it was on a car rally, funnily enough. And there's like 10 of us. And I just looked around the table by coincidence and I saw everyone's wearing a nice watch. And I thought, when I was broke, the idea, if someone told me they had 30 or 40 grand in the bank, I thought they were doing good. Now I'm sitting at a table, everyone's wearing a $100,000 watch. Nobody gives a fuck. It's just like, there's levels to the game. And when you get up to the top, you realize there's money everywhere. The abundance mindset, there are so many rich people. So if you're not where you want to be financially, I hope this pisses you off, because I'm telling you to annoy you, that you're sitting there struggling to pay your bills. There are people out there making so much money you couldn't possibly fathom, who have anything they want all of the time. And you may sit there and go, oh, but they're miserable. A lot of them aren't. Trust me, they're having a great time. So you need to make a bunch more money because there's money everywhere.
Think of the harshest lesson. You don't even have to say what it is, but think of the harshest lesson you've had in the last few years. And think of how many times you had the easy way to learn that lesson. You could have just stopped being a dickhead before it got bad.
Like that.
Think how many times you could have just woke up and go, nah. Yeah. But we don't, do we?
Nope.
We wake up like, we got away with it. It's fine. And then bam, you get hit. There's only two ways to learn lessons, hard and harder. If you're smart, you take it the hard way. Real idiots take it the hardest way.
Yeah.
But there's no easy way to learn lessons.
But when will you stop the work and take a step back?
I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to.
No.
And that's my competitive advantage. I don't want to do that.
The enjoyment for you is the work, not the...
Completely. Other people are like, oh, I'm here now, so I can now go on holiday. I don't want to stop working. I don't want a holiday. I don't want to relax. Is this relaxing? I'm going to try and relax for the first time in my life. We'll do this here live on the podcast. Ready?
Yeah.
Ready? Am I supposed to want to do that? What was that? What was it? Like, what is that? Is that it? Is that the dream?
Doing nothing.
Is that the goal? Like, and if I'm not on my phone, my brain is preoccupied and anxious about what's happening on my phone. So it's better to just be on it. Like, I don't want to relax. I don't want to stop.
Ain't no rest for the wicked.
No, I don't want to stop. That's why nobody will ever beat me, because all these other people, they want to take time out of their life.
They're working to relax.
They're working to relax. I'm at the point now where I'd look at a beautiful woman and go, I can go on a date with her and she's absolutely gorgeous and perhaps we'll fall in love and it'll be great. But you know what? I'd rather work. I don't want to be off my phone.
Yeah.
I don't want to date girls. I just want to conquer the earth. I don't care about anything else.
I know I've only reached 10% of what I can actually do.
Let's go, bro.
And that bothers me. And no matter how much money I'm making or how most Googled man alive, whatever, I can still identify the inefficiencies in my systems. I can still identify where more money could have been made. And money isn't that important. But like we said, money is a very simple way to measure success because it's numbers. Numbers are easy.
Yeah.
This number, that number. It's easy. What does a company do when it wants to measure the success of a company? It looks at the numbers. What does a YouTube channel do? It looks at the numbers. Numbers are easy. So if you're going to say, how do I be successful in life? Money's not everything, but it's a nice, easy way to measure because it's numbers. And then when you understand it's the time and energy of other people, you sit and go, okay, well, I have this large empire now and I have all these people who work for me and all these people I love and all these people I care about and all these children and all this going on. And the world is getting more and more messed up and everything's on a decline and everything's being destroyed and a certain number of people are going to become useless eaters are going to be eradicated and they're going to try and lock us all in our 15-minute cities for the climate or some garbage that's coming in no time. How do I combat and fight all of this and protect all the people I care about? Well, I need the time and energy of others. I need an army, so I need money. So you start waking up saying, okay, 1 billion is shit, Tristan. And he's like, Andrew, we're from a single mother household and our company got valued at $1.2 billion and you own 100% of it. No, we need at least 10. And then you start getting, then I get mad. And my stress comes from the fact that I don't have enough. And I said, bro, you see that? And he goes, yeah, what about it? I said, doesn't that piss you off? I must be about 16. He goes, why? So this dude has 400 G's for a car, 400 grand. I'm walking 4 miles to college because my mom hasn't got any car. He has 400 grand. Do you think he works a job? Do you think he's fucking behind a counter somewhere? He knows something about the world that I don't know.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, he's rich. I'm like, yeah, I know. I didn't say he wasn't rich, dummy. I'm saying he knows something about the world I don't know. And I was intrigued and it angered me. I couldn't sleep for weeks. I was pissed off. Every time I saw somebody with genuine money, I understood that everything I was being told and taught and they were trying to make me believe just simply wasn't true. I was like, this is bullshit. None of these people are getting these things by following the path that the system is trying to make me follow. Yeah. Nobody, and everybody intrinsically knows this. If you go to if you're at a BP, you're at a petrol station, and I pull up in my Lamborghini, nobody goes, wow, he went to school. He studied hard.
Right.
Who they fuck? They're like drug dealer, gangster. And they do that because they know that the easiest way to amass wealth is to break the rules, because the rules are not designed to allow most people to make money. You can make money within the rules, of course you can. But most people don't. Most people who follow the path work, consume, die. That's it.
Yeah.
So I always knew the same thing as you, and I knew there had to be another way. I knew that just working for money was a paradigm that wasn't true. And then you understand making your money work for you, and you understand delinking your time from money.
Yeah.
You start learning to understand these things, but eventually you build a system, and you build an ecosystem like me. I have 60 or 70 people work for me all around the world. And things just happen, and money just kind of appears as long as everything's well organized.
Do you think?
And life really doesn't have to be that complicated. When you see somebody that has something you want, you just got to try and work out how they got it.
Yeah.
And that's the missing part. Most people see people with things they want, and they don't do the second half. They don't try and work out how they got that thing. Oh, my man has a Ferrari. Okay. I wish I had a Ferrari. Okay. They don't sit there and go for an hour, how did he get a Ferrari? It doesn't cross that part is the part they don't want to do, right? They just go, oh, here's a Ferrari, wish I had a Ferrari, and they go back to TV.
Yeah.
And that's why they lose. If you don't want to buy a jet and you don't want to buy a yacht, you're never going to need more than $20 million, really, because there's nothing to buy.
And you can rent the yachts and the jets.
You can charter yachts, you can charter jets, which is probably smarter anyway. I had a jet, I owned one for a few months, and I sold it. And the reason I'll never buy a jet again.
They can track it.
All these on Twitter are tracking them.
That's
Top
what-
G's jet. I'm not having it tracked.
Bernard Arnault, the LVMH guy, he just sold it now.
Because I don't want everyone knowing where I am all the time. Yeah. You can buy a nice house in most places on the planet. You can buy 2 or 3 cars. You can buy some diamond watches. You can buy some nice clothes. And that's all there is to buy. What's actually kind of amazing to me is when I was poor, I thought if I got rich, I'd buy all this stuff. And now I'm rich and I can buy anything I want. And there's nothing to buy. There's nothing to buy. Clothes, I already have too many. My wardrobe's completely full head to toe. Don't wear most of them. Diamond watches, you get 10. How many do you really need? Cars, I have 28. I drive like 4 of them. Like, what's there to buy? Coffee, dinner.
Yeah, true.
There's nothing to buy. So the money is just about influence and power. That's all it's about. All I know, what I will state as a matter of fact, is this world is hyper competitive, especially as a man. Most men are walking through life and they don't realize that it's constant competition. And this is my point. If the world is truly that competitive, you do not have time to be depressed because it's a non-competitive mind state. You could be depressed for X, Y, Z, whatever. I'm not depressed. And I want the money you want, and I want the girl you want, and I want the status you want, and the car you want, and the house you want. And I'm going to get it, and you're fucking not. You're playing a game, and it's a competitive game, and you need to build a mindset that allows you to be ultra competitive. And if you want to sit there and say, no, I want a non-competitive mindset, then fine. You know what you call people who do not win competitions?
Losers.
Correct. Yeah, I think I had the best possible upbringing a person can have, which is good parents and no money. I didn't get famous or rich young, which I also thank the Lord for. I think a lot of these people who get famous online quite early, I think they miss out a lot of life.
It's not real life.
It's not real life.
It's not real life.
No, I had real jobs and I did real things and I was really broke and I was really on the bus and really trying to pay rent and doing real stuff for a long time. I always say I'm not rich. I'm a poor man with a lot of money. I always used to say that. And I don't want to brag or anything, but just because I get asked this question a lot. I've been extremely successful. I have hundreds of millions of dollars. In fact, I think our last valuation across everything we own we're almost at B now. So we're doing very, very, I'm a billionaire. Top G's a billionaire. So we're doing extremely well. That's the first thing. The second thing, it's great that you say that because I completely agree. Because if you're born with everything, if you're born with all this money, that you have no aspiration, nothing to actually grasp onto and trying to achieve, then money doesn't make you happy. But then you can analyze this from another angle, right? We were just talking earlier, we can always pivot back to who the matrix are, who's in charge. So let me ask you.
Do you have somebody that
Well, let me ask you a question.
Okay, go ahead.
If you're born into a dynasty, let's say a banking dynasty, and you're born a billionaire, and you have everything you've ever wanted ever, and money has absolutely no value at all, and a brand new Ferrari doesn't mean a thing. You could buy one every 10 minutes for the rest of your life, and money doesn't make you happy. What's the one thing that's going to make you happy?
Controlling others.
Controlling others. Power.
Yeah.
Ego. So then you sit there and start looking at things.
Because
and going,
games become real.
Absolutely. Yeah. So now you're like, okay, well, money doesn't satisfy me. What makes me feel important? Especially if you're going to add in. Let's add in another angle to it. Let's imagine you falsely believe, because it is falsely, that you're somehow genetically better than others. You're from this lineage. You're better than the other people. And the other people, the serfs and peasants, are struggling for money, and you have unlimited money because you're so smart and your family's always been so smart.
You'll have haughty eyes.
Yeah. So then you're going to sit there and go, Well, why did they make people put on a mask when they walked in the restaurant and take the mask off to eat and then put it on to go to the toilet and then take it off to eat and then put it back on? Because
I have a
I'll tell you why. Because it's funny.
Because it's funny?
Because it's an ego. Because it's ego.
I thought it was the test to see how far they could push something.
Compliance tests.
Yeah.
Which is the same thing. So when you really understand that people who are in charge of the world are completely, like you said, broken. They're broken people. Money can't satisfy them. People said, I keep referencing COVID, and I do that because it was something tangible that everybody lived through. That's a very easy one to reference.
This is actually, it's a bad thing that could work in your favor because now they could relate to you.
Yeah.
If you're in a gas station and it's 3 a.m. and a Lambo pulls up and a guy gets out of it, you're thinking criminal, drug dealer, gangster. Yeah. You're not thinking, he has a uni degree. Because you're not going to think that. So when you see money, people don't even associate the money they see with university. But then they go, I want to make money, so I go to university. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. So I think everybody knows that the system and the path they lay out for you is not a path that's going to lead to where you want to be. And I didn't know what the other path was, but that intrinsic distrust for the system and that distrust for the things they wanted me to do made me search for other avenues. And then I found them, right? And if you speak to the people who are richest, if you speak to the people you know, this is for everyone at home as well, if you speak to the people you know who have the most money and go up to them and say, hey, what made you rich? None of them say school. Do any of them say school made me rich? I got an A in GCSE. Like, who gives a shit? It's bullshit, right? So it's all indoctrination. So I knew it was indoctrination, and for that reason, I was always searching. And if you're searching, you're going to find.
Yeah.
So
the average people come to me and say, what do I do? I'm just the average guy. And my only answer is stop being the average guy. It's my only answer. You can't just be the average guy anymore. The idea from the 1950s that you can just be the normal, average, law-abiding, hard-working citizen and you'll have a good life is gone. Any man out here who goes, I'm just going to work hard, do my bit, and obey the laws, and I'll have a good life. No, you won't. No, you will not. Just doing your job is never going to make you rich because you're just going to be taxed into infinity and you're going to stay broke. So just obeying laws and doing your job now has set you up to be a peon and a slave for eternity. You have to get yourself in a position where you're making enough money that, I'm not saying laws can be broken, but there certainly can be bent. I mean, I think you know this with accountancy and the way that tax laws work. You get to a certain level where it's like, okay, yeah, we can just put that one to the side. We can twist that one around.
Arnold Schwarzenegger says, break the rules, but don't break the law.
Completely, yeah, and that's basically it, right? So you get to a certain level, and that's where it's really interesting because the average peon, their answer to all this is, we need to tax the rich. Because they don't understand how money works. They don't understand how the world works. And they think that rich people are out here working some kind of job that you can tax.
Yeah. I've spoken to dudes and like, yeah, I had a bad couple months. Why? My girl left me. You've wasted months? You've wasted months over some... Like you had think of how much God loves you to have given you the grace and given you the opportunity to waste months of human time over some chick. Like, talk about blessed head to toe. If I waste months, empires are going to collapse. I'm going to end up in a cell or dead if I waste months. I have things to do every single day. I can't waste a second. Like, these people are just absolutely infinitely blessed. And their mindset is a product of that because they're spoiled children. Absolutely spoiled children. If you're going through life with any other mindset besides a hyper-competitive one, where you are capable of competing with some of the most dangerous men on the planet in all their forms, me and my network, and also my competitors. If you don't have that mindset, then you have to understand that you are spoiled. You're spoiled by your reality. I believe there's only 3 reasons people are not rich. One of 3 reasons. They're either stupid, arrogant, or lazy. Stupid is actually the smallest category. People think, oh, there's a lot of stupid people. There are, but I know a lot of stupid people with a lot of money, right? There's so much money in the world. To be too stupid to generate money, I think is less than 5% of the population who are genuinely too dumb to ever make a good wage. Then you have arrogant and lazy, and these are the 2 most common. Lazy because people just, but I need time to myself. But it's the evening. Or, it's hyper competitive. There are people who do not need times to themselves. There's an Indian in Islam, or there's a guy in Islamabad who'll do your job online for $3 an hour and he doesn't sleep. You're gonna lose, right? So if you're gonna be lazy in any regard, you have to understand there are people like me who are billionaires who work 18 hours a day. When I finish this, I get into my car and I open my laptop and I work on my way to my next appointment. And then I'm gonna work all night till the day I go. When I go to sleep, I close my laptop and I'm gonna sleep a minute later. I work, that's all I do. So lazy is a big problem because people go, but I just want to relax. If you just want to relax, that's fine. But you're competing against people who just don't want to relax and you're going to lose. And the last, and I'd say that's around
a lot of people have that element to them. A lot of people are lazy. That's about 50% of people. But the main reason people are not rich is because they are arrogant. 50% of people are brutally arrogant. And I'll give you an example. I have a school where I teach people how to make money online. It's called The Real World. It was called Hustles University. It's now called The Real World. TheRealWorld.ai. You can see it at CobraTake.com. I sit here as a billionaire and I sit and say, I will teach you how to make money online. Anybody, 18 modern wealth creation methods. It's $49 a month and I will teach you. And people will sit there in their brutal arrogance and as a brokey with no money and go, yeah, but can he really teach me? I have everything you've ever fucking dreamed of. I have all the money. You have nothing. And you're so arrogant that you believe you know more than me or that you can do it without me or that I don't know how to teach you. The arrogance of people is truly mind-bending. If you know so much, why are you broke? You obviously don't know. If I want to learn how to box, I wouldn't walk into a boxing gym, find a guy who can box and go, yeah, you know, not bad, but can he really punch? Like, this is how people think when it comes to money. You guys are all successful enough. You can sit there and say, look, I do X, Y, Z. I have X, Y, Z. You don't have it. So do you want to learn how to play piano from the piano teacher, or do you want to sit there as an arrogant brokey? Most people are brutally arrogant. And you can sit there and you can try and help them. And they're just so arrogant. They think, oh, I can do it myself, or I'll work it out myself. I don't need help. And it's arrogance. And it keeps them at the bottom. Everything great that's happened to me in my life, someone taught me. I had a kickboxing coach. My dad was my chess coach. You get taught things. To sit there and think you're too good to learn. Well, this is the problem. Most people are broke. Most people are broke because they're arrogant, bro. It's the truth. It's nothing to do with how stupid they are. They're just arrogant people. You know what's a fantastic motivator for men? Shame. I'm telling you now, it works. Shame. If I'm around my house and someone was getting fat and all of us were to go, you're a fat fuck, what are you eating that for? I guarantee they'd train. Shame works with men. And you talk about this, and this is the reason I promote brotherhood. The reason I am the man I am is not just because I'm so fantastic. It's because I, even now to this day, live with 6 men. I live with my fight coach. I live with my brother. I live with some of my old friends I've had for 20 years. We live in this big ass compound, this huge house. If I wake up and my brother's been training an hour and a half, I feel so annoyed and angry and guilty that I have to go and beat him now. So that competitiveness keeps us constantly at edge. People say me and Tristan are best friends and our brotherhood is fantastic, but it is based on competitiveness. But we don't compete against each other. We compete to prove to each other we're a good teammate in the battle against the Matrix.
How do you get there? Because I've seen a lot of men get torn up by that.
Yeah.
So how do you get to a healthy way where we're competitive, but it's not going to destroy our relationship?
Well, you have to understand that there's enough outside enemies. You have to put your ego aside and say, look, there's enough people who already want me dead. We're the same blood. Can't we at least unite against all the people who want me dead? I want you. I'm in competition with you, Tristan. I want to beat you to prove to you I'm a fantastic teammate to you, as opposed to I want to beat you because I don't like you. And it's a different mentality. And we'll sit there, and my brother and I are in constant, endless competition, but it keeps us sharp. So masculine competition is super important, which is why it's the third thing I teach, which is brotherhood. You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you find some guys who have their game right, your game's going to get straight. It's as simple as that. And I think if you take any man on the planet, in any situation, in any scenario, and you tell him to become as strong as possible because of all the lessons he's going to learn, become as rich as possible because of all the lessons he's going to learn, plus obviously being strong and rich are benefits, plus find a network of brotherhood of men who are accountable to themselves and by extension accountable to you. If you're accountable to yourself as a man, you're also accountable for your friends. I don't want loser friends. I don't want dickhead friends. If I had a guy I really liked and start being a dickhead, I'd try very hard to fix him. And if I couldn't fix him, I wouldn't be his friend anymore. I'd say, stop that. We don't do that. Why are you doing that? What are you crying about again? Why are you acting that way? Come on, let's go train. I don't want to train. But we always train. Come on, let's go. And then after a while, I'd be like, he doesn't train anymore. Get him out. Bye. Go get eaten by wolves. That's the unfortunate reality of the world, because I'm the sum of the 5 people I spend the most time with. I don't want to wake up one day feeling terrible and going, but he's missing the day and I might miss the day. His poison will get in my brain. I have to resist it. So if you get a brotherhood, masculine brotherhood, and you're accountable for yourself and for them, you're going to be able to do nearly anything.
People will shield laziness with anything. No one wants to admit they're lazy. So they'll shield it with disbelief. That's a scam. Or, I don't work hard, I work smart. Bollocks. More cover. For just anything it takes to say, I don't want to work.
Do you believe in that? Work smarter, not harder?
I believe in both.
Yeah.
But there's a time when it comes to work smart. And most people are trying to do the smart work before they do the hard work. It's kind of like talent, right? You don't notice if you're talented at something until all the hard work's done.
Yep.
I could be the most talented tennis player in the world, but I don't play tennis. So if I go down the tennis court, Joe Schmo is going to smoke me.
I don't get to see my talent until I've worked so hard that I'm in the top 1%, and now I'm beating them because I have some God-given gift.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
You have to do the hard work first. If there's no hard work, there's no smart work. So someone's going to sit there and go, I work smart, I don't work hard, so I only have to work an hour a day. If working smart gets you a lot done in an hour a day, then you should work smart for 12 hours a day and get 12 times the work done. I am absolutely and utterly a believer in hard work. I'm a proponent of hard work. I have all this money and all I do is work. My entire life is work. This podcast is work. I'm getting in the car, I'm going to another meeting, work. I'm going to fuck a bitch, that's work. She's going to be on my arm at the fucking Cannes on the film festival. That's more credibility. I consider it work to fuck her. That's work. I want to go to the gym so I'm in good shape, work. It's all work. My entire life is work. And people don't want to look at life that way. They want to talk about work-life balance and being lazy and all this crap. I don't believe in any of that. I believe in if you want to win, you have to outcompete the man who's prepared to do nothing but work. It's player versus player. If you're going to sit there and go, I don't want to work more than an hour a day, well, the guy who does want to work more than an hour a day is going to beat you. And no matter how smart you are, there's always a smart dude who's doing the same smart work you are for more hours than you're doing it. That's just the nature of the game. And we talked earlier about speed. Most people go, it's only 2 weeks. It's only a week. It's only a week. The people who say it's only a week are the people who are broke.
They don't value time.
That's the reason you're all poor, because you say it's only a week. So, it's tomorrow. Oh, I'll do it later. It's only an hour. It's only a day. It's only a minute. You are competing against people like me. We do not waste a second.
Being a normal man or an average Joe is always going to suck. The only way to have a good life as a man is to be exceptional in some fields. Here is how you do it.
Yeah.
You need to work your ass off. They delete me. They want men to stay depressed, semi-depressed, miserable, paying the taxes, just rich enough to pay tax, too broke to do anything else.
Yeah.
And that's where they want you. So they don't care about men's mental health either. They don't care how many men kill themselves. They don't give a shit.
And this is why I talk about the Matrix. People say, why do you talk about the Matrix all the time? And I say there are people who are living right now in a computer-generated reality. If you believe everything you're watching on the news, you are believing a complete false version of reality. And the idea of that reality is to keep your brain occupied enough so that you'll continue to do a shit job for shit wages and pay your taxes until you die. That's exactly that's the plot of the Matrix movie. They're abusing your body and controlling your mind so that your body will sit there and do what they need it to do until you're no longer useful anymore. And that's exactly what's happening. And another question I get is people ask me why I'm so interested in this fight against the Matrix. And I try and explain to people that I believe this fight cannot be avoided. I think you're either combating the Matrix and fighting against the garbage they're telling you, or you're believing it. And if you believe it, then you end up fighting against yourself. You end up fighting against your own mind. You can't avoid the battle. If you're a full-grown man and you believe everything that's on the news, you're going to end up fucking semi-depressed, divorced, miserable, broke. Like your life's shit anyway. There's no way to escape this fight. You're either buying their crap and fighting against your mind, or you're fighting against their crap. There's no other way to do it. I've never met somebody with a fantastic life who did not completely and utterly believe in themselves. I've never seen somebody massively succeed and they didn't believe in themselves. Ever. I've never seen somebody who just allows life to happen to them and become blown off course by some sadness, end up doing massively monumental and important things. I've never seen it. And if she leaves me afterwards, let's say she just likes to leave men, I don't care. Yeah. I'm still working. You're still crying. You can't possibly ever beat me. I'll continue to beat you into eternity, as will my bloodline. You will sit and pay the price for the rest of your human years. Even your ancestors above you are disappointed in you, and your offspring for the rest of your lineage will look up and say, my great-great-great-grandfather was a loser because I broke his heart, and now we've been broke ever since.
Yeah.
Chess and fighting are remarkably similar.
Very. You have to know what your next move is going to be countering his next move.
And there's no luck. If you lose, you made a mistake. There's no such thing as a lucky punch. If I'm losing a fight, or if I'm beating some guy up, and he hits me with one shot and knocks me out, and people go, that's a lucky punch. He's trained his whole life to punch people in the face, and he punched me in the face. You call that lucky? I'll call that good. I think it was a very good punch. Excellent. Probably his best punch of his career. No such thing as lucky punches. Same thing with chess. If you
also
lose,
you left your guard down.
Absolutely. It's my fault. Same thing with chess. Brutal self-accountability. If you lose, you made a mistake somewhere. How do you learn that? You have to go back, reflect. You have to watch the game back, play the game back. Where did I make the mistake? You don't blame your opponent. You blame yourself always in chess. This self-accountability. So when I stopped playing professional chess, I decided to move over to fighting because they're very similar. It's one-on-one. It's not a team sport. So that's why I chose to fight. But I never considered fighting fun. I never took it as, ha, 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 this is fun. I was out to hurt people. For real.
Firstly, let me tell you something about myself and most rich people. We don't own anything. I don't own anything. I don't own anything. There may be a trust fund in Ecuador that owns a company in Singapore that might own a yacht that I can borrow, for example. I don't own shit. So that's the first thing. The second thing, you have all these different jurisdictions around the world. It's extremely complicated. How are you going to tax a rich guy? He has houses here, houses there, company here, company there, all the companies making a loss. Does Starbucks pay tax? No, Starbucks supposedly doesn't make money. Supposedly Uber's never made profit. An app on the phone with millions of cars around the world and people working endless hours for them and them getting a cut of it to run an app. Supposedly they never made profit, never paid a penny tax. Funny how that works. You can't tax the rich. It's too complicated. You can't tax the rich. It doesn't work. All you're going to do is just drive them into other countries. If England right now today were to announce a huge tax on the rich people would just go, oh, cool. I'll base my company out of Belize. A few pieces of paper. Fuck you.
We don't really learn lessons unless they're learned the hard way.
Yeah.
I believe that unless a lesson has taught the hard way, you're not going to learn it. You can have so many near misses and people won't learn their lesson. Bro, you must know a guy who goes out there, nearly crashes his car, doesn't slow his ass down till he wrecks it.
Yeah.
Like, this is how people are, right? So you need that pain for the lesson to sting enough to really genuinely go inside of your mind. And it's the same with everything. It's the same with driving a car or business. Truthfully, if you want to learn a lesson about business, you're going to have to suffer at some point, right? So we always say that most people are not successful with their first companies, X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. I get that. The truth is there's a lot of people who make a lot of money with their first company, but they just spunk it, act an idiot, and it all blows up in their face. And that's how you get the discipline on your fourth company, that when you have 3 million in the bank, you just leave it there. You know, and don't be done with it. So you need to go through some pain. You need to experience some negative things. You need to have to a degree some trauma to really even learn any lessons. So yeah, business studies, you're right. The book, that's not going to teach you anything about business. You need to get out there on the streets. You need to make mistakes. You need to suffer. You need to have the tax man knocking at your door. You got to deal with all that stuff so that you make sure it doesn't happen again. I really think that humans are stupid enough to only learn the hard way. That's kind of how it works.
The problem with owning something is that it can be taken from you. So let's look at it the American way. In America, litigation is a big problem. Everyone gets sued all the time. So you don't want to own anything, because if you get sued, then you're going to have to pay that debt, and you might have to sell your assets to pay that debt.
Not if it's in a company though, if it's a limited company.
Correct. This is the point. So people don't own anything themselves.
Okay, so they only do their company.
It's a limited company owns it, a trust owns it. Exactly. So you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Look at the Panama Papers. Yeah. Look at it. And then it gets really complicated. And this is what I'm saying, where the average Joe Schmo at home has no idea how this stuff works. Because let's look at Nike, for example. Nike doesn't pay any tax. Why does Nike not pay tax? Well, I'll give you a very simple version. They have two companies. One set up in Belize with a 1% tax rate. One set up in Europe. The one set up in Europe sells Nike trainers, pays all the staff, pays the stores, sells all the shoes, makes all the money, makes millions and millions and millions in profit. The one in Belize owns the trademark. So after 100 million, 200 million, whatever it is, comes into the European company. The European company has a debt to Belize to use the trademark of all the profit. Isn't that coincidental?
Yeah, right.
That goes to Belize. Then Belize government comes along and goes, give us 1%. Nothing. Boom, boom, done. Tax paid. It's all a scam. It's all a lie. It's all a scam. The person who get fucked, it's always the same. It's the guy in the middle.
Yeah.
The guy in the middle is going to get wrecked. It makes me laugh when they talk about, we're going to increase taxes, da-da-da. When they talk about increases taxes, they're not trying to chase down the billionaire on his yacht, because they can't. They're trying to chase down the guy with an address, who can't move, can't leave. He has a mortgage debt, 2 kids and a dog, living somewhere in Sunderland, and he's stuck there.
I walk in a gas station, put a mask on. No. I won't serve you. Okay, is the gas free? Because I've filled up. So you're gonna take my money, or I'm gonna have free gas? No, you have to pay. Well, then fucking serve me, dummy. Put a mask on. No. It's just some stupid thing. In the end, they take my money. It was a big waste of everybody's time. And I'd say to them, bro, you're earning 700 pounds a month, working for a corporation that wouldn't give a fuck about you if you got stage 5 cancer. Why do you care? If I worked in BP and someone walked into my gas station and decided to start a fire in the corner and barbecue some sausages, I wouldn't give a I'd be like, please stop, bro. Whatever. Like, why do these people, they're so fervently passionate about the rules of the BP station?
But do we need people?
You're a fucking slave in your mind.
Do we need slaves, though? Because
Yes,
obviously
we do.
we need people to work and do those jobs that obviously the free people can't do.
And this is the full circle realization when you get to the point where, as frustrating as it was, you need this slave class of people who buy bullshit so that I don't have to do bullshit stuff, which is great. But usually the bullshit people can't tell me what to do. It's only during COVID they were allowed, and now that's all over. They can't tell me what to do anymore, so it's fine. But if you're and not everybody's mind can be free, because in society it would break down. But Of course, some people's minds are designed for freedom and some people's aren't, but it's amazing when you're talking to the slave mind trying to get through to them. You have two choices. Either you understand what's happening in the world today and you're on the side of good and you're fighting against the Matrix, or you've accepted all the Matrix programming to pretend that there is no battle, and then by extension, you're going to end up fighting against your own mind. And you're going to be in a fight either way. Your mind's either right and you're fighting externally against the enemy, or you've accepted the Matrix programming and you're sitting there fighting against your own depression, your own anxiety, fighting against your own struggles inside of yourself. You're going to fight anyway. There is no way to avoid this. So you have to make a decision. Do you want to have control of your own mind and control of yourself and fight for God and fight on the side of good against evil? Or do you want to accept the evil programming, fall down a hole of degeneracy and fight against yourself and self-destruct and implode? That's your choice to make. But I think the intelligent choice is to fight against evil. But also, life teaches you a lot. And I think a lot of people are not very self-reflective of their own lives. I don't think you can read a book and that's great. But I think if you're living an interesting life, if you were to take half an hour a day to actually sit and go, okay, what good has happened to me today and what bad has happened to me today? Why have those things happened and how can I prevent them from happening again? Most people don't, that kind of crap doesn't even cross their minds. Like every day I will sit at the end of the day and go, what bad has happened to me today? How did that happen? Did I get caught slipping was I on the street and some guys come up to me and it could have been a dangerous situation? Like, how could I genuinely have improved my reality? And you can self-reflect and teach yourself everything.
But that's total ownership of your life, isn't it?
But you have to have.
But a lot of people don't.
You have to have ownership of everything good that's ever happened to you and everything bad that's ever happened to you. I have complete ownership for the fact I was canceled. I don't sit there and go, oh, they're lying about me. Yes, they're lying, but I still own it completely. They're lying about me and they're talking shit, but I own it and I took responsibility for it and I sat there and I took absolute accountability and I thought, okay, how can I turn this in my favor? And I beat them. If I'm walking down the street and it starts to rain, I take responsibility for that. I didn't have to be in rainy London. I could have been somewhere else. I could have brought an umbrella. Could have took a car. I am responsible for getting wet in the rain. And there's people out here who just don't take any responsibility for their own actions, let alone the weather. If you take complete self-accountability and you self-reflect, you can learn a whole bunch about life.
But could you not just say that it's raining, this is unfortunate?
No, but that's what losers do. It's raining. I'm unlucky.
I must be, yeah, I must be a loser.
No, but that's what they'll say. I got wet because it rained, not my fault. Whereas I'll say I got wet because I did not prepare for the rain. As the world gets more messed up, which it is, people are going to learn some very abrasive, harsh lessons. And sometimes when you've gone through a very harsh lesson, to be given a solution which isn't harsh, you're not going to believe it. To be given a harsh solution makes you feel like, okay, this guy knows exactly what he's talking about. As a man, your life is supposed to be shit. My argument to this is people go, oh, I don't feel good. I say, good. Your life as a man is going to be terrible the entire time. Who told you at any point, I don't know what the Bible says. I haven't read it cover to cover like I've read the Quran, but I don't think the Bible says you're supposed to be happy all of the time. I think follow your passion is also a terrible piece of advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. People say, hey man, you need to find what you're passionate about and do that. And what they're trying to say is only do what you like because you have no motivation to do anything else. And motivation in and of itself is a scam. I don't believe in motivation. I believe in discipline. I am not motivated to do the things I'm supposed to do every day. I don't wake up full of like joy that I have to go to the gym or that I have to work or got to deal with crap. I don't feel motivated to do them. I'm disciplined. I do them regardless of how I feel. Whether I'm in the mood to do it or I'm not in the mood to do it, it gets done. That's discipline. Discipline's a real thing. Motivation is fleeting.
Yeah.
You're never going to be permanently motivated. So when someone comes along and says, oh, do what you're passionate about, what they're saying is you'll have endless motivation and then you'll be able to try hard. If you're the kind of person who can only try hard at something he enjoys, then you're going to fail. Because most things you enjoy don't pay any money. If they paid money, you wouldn't enjoy them. It's called a job, right? Nobody likes their job. You like your hobby. I'm sure you like playing video games. Maybe 1%, 0.1% can make money from video games, right? Most people, you ain't ever going to make it.
Yeah.
Do you think the guy in China who owns a concrete plant is passionate about concrete?
If a man were to sit in front of you and say, I can rip your head off with my little finger, and he said it in the right terms, and he truly believed it in his heart, you wouldn't want him to try. As ridiculous as that sounds, you'd be like, it's kind of big, maybe. You know, it crosses your mind. So I think that, yeah, I have psychoanalyzed myself, even though I'm not officially, certified. And I've decided that I can't stop bad things from happening to me. So instead, I'm going to enjoy bad things happening to me. And I'm going to build a mindset that makes me fearsome enough to succeed regardless of how stacked the odds are against me.
Yeah.
And I want to make this very clear. I'm not a coward. I don't care if I don't sleep again for the rest of my life. I refuse to take any fucking pill, and I refuse to sit and have my mind altered by anything I do not control. I don't care if I have nightmares for the rest of human time.
Right.
As long as I'm in charge of my mind, I'm in charge of my life, If God decides that I don't need nightmares anymore, I'll fathom out how to stop it. If God decides I need to wake up in the middle of the night in a sweat, fearful or afraid they're coming to get me, then that's God's plan for me, and that's what I'm going to deal with. I'm not a coward. I'm not afraid of any of these things. I'm not afraid of feeling bad. I'm not afraid of anxiety. I'm not afraid of panic. This is one of the things I think a lot of men out there struggle with, is they're so worried and afraid of bad feelings. And to me, that's just showing that you've had an easy life. Like, there's real people out here who are trying to kill you. There's people out here who put a knife in your neck. You're scared of what? Feeling sad? Who cares? Like, there's real problems. What are you worried about feeling sad for? Who gives a shit? I could feel sad for the rest of my life, and I guarantee, one, nobody would know, and two, I would be monumentally successful regardless. So why are we even talking about it? I have no fear for a negative feeling. I have fear for me not being able to provide for my children. I have fear for people who rely on me not being provided for and cared for, but I don't have a single, I don't wake up and go, I'm worried if I might feel sad today. Who cares? Who cares? I can be happy or sad on the same day. Nobody notices, and the same things get done. The exact same amount of work gets done. Nothing changes. There are some people who cannot be saved, and it's not my intention to save everybody. I have no intention of trying to convince everybody to like me. My intention is to try to speak to the people out there who know what I'm saying is the truth and who like the way it's being presented and said. I, once again, have no concern with being disliked by X percentage of the population. And I want to make this clear. I've spoken to a lot of people who have talked about how their mental health has been affected by, online bullying and media campaigns and smear campaigns. I don't think anybody's been attacked by the media in the last 2 years harder than me. Every day, there is something in the media trying to paint me as a bad person. On TV channels from Ulaanbaatar to Utah, across the entire world. And I can sit here and say categorically, I've never read a media report and been like, shit. I've just been like, clowns. Don't care. Anybody who sits and watches the news and believes what the news says about me is the same kind of person who believes everything the news says. Right. And if you have two choices in this world, people are talking about the battle I'm in, and yes, I may be spearheading it, I may be at the front of it, but I believe that this war cannot be avoided. You are either at war against the injustice and against the lies, or you're at war with your own mind when you believe they're garbage. It is impossible for a man to believe the crap they want you to believe and be a happy, functioning adult. It's impossible. If you believe the shit that's on the television as a man, you're going to be miserable. So you're either at war with your brain or you're at war with them. Anyone who's going to sit there and go, I believe Andrew Tate is a human trafficker, I have 25 vaccines, I believe in Ukraine. These people are already paying the price because they're already miserable, and I can guarantee everyone who dislikes me is an unhappy person because their minds are enslaved. So when someone sits across from me, which has never happened in person, but let's say someone on the internet makes a video about it, right? And these happen. I knew Andrew Tate's the worst man ever. I can load up the video and just look at him for a fraction of a second and go, he's paid the price. Right. He's already miserable. If I was that person, then depression would be real. These are fat internet trolls, losers, who can't compare to me in any human metric. They know it, which is why they dislike me. Because anybody who genuinely gets out in the world and looks for truth and looks to be successful and is tenacious and is brave agrees with everything I say. So I don't feel pain when someone sits and says garbage about me, because I believe that their mind is already suffering because they're not free. Their mind's not free. Anybody who can listen to what I say long enough and not be emotional about it and actually understand it, well, those people aren't paying a price. So maybe that's a coping mechanism, but every single time I see a woman who hates me or a man who hates me, and I compare them to the people who like me, there's a massive contrast in overall physical attractiveness, success, financial success. Like, it's amazing. Sure. So it's like, okay, well, my haters are way down here and the people who agree with me are way up here, so let them hate. But at the end of the day, there are people, moving parts in all of this. There's a prosecutor, there's a judge, there's a lawyer, whatever. Someone is sitting in an office who gets a piece of paper saying, destroy Andrew Tate. And that person looks at my life and compares it to theirs. And they feel resentful. And then they go, okay, let me use every power I have to try and destroy this man. Right. If my life wasn't so aspirational is a word you can use, but if it also didn't tick nearly every single box in regards to every teenage boy's dream, I think that they would be a lot less interested in trying to hurt me. They're trying to hurt me because of the things I have and what I can do. I don't think humans are as emotionally incontinent as they pretend to be. And I believe that when you truly feel pain or truly feel trauma or something really bad happens to you, the result to that is usually silence. I don't think you talk very much at all. So you ask me, what is it like to be vulnerable? Well, to me, that's not crying. That's not, I think when anyone's doing that, 99% of the time it's a manipulation. I believe, personally. Maybe that's just my personal experience. But, yeah, maybe. But I think especially with men, I think it's a manipulation tactic when they try and show too much emotion, and women do it as well. And I don't react very well to it. If someone were to sit in front of me and start bawling their eyes out, it's very hard to elicit sympathy from me for that reason. I feel like you get sympathy from me by sitting and explaining to me why something bad happened to you in a logical, calm, stoic manner. If someone starts crying in front of me, I feel like they're trying to manipulate me and I don't buy it. I think I've rooted out any weakness, or I've compensated so heavily so long ago. I don't see myself as a weak person. I don't see myself as a person who can fail. People said to me in jail, how did you handle that? What else can I do? Not handle it? What does that look like? We're gonna bang my head on the wall like a dummy? Am I gonna have a breakdown and just be a pile of mush? All you can do is handle it. So we're talking about vulnerability. I'm being as vulnerable as I can, but I can't even honestly sit here and tell you a weakness I have, because in my mind I have no weaknesses. And perhaps that's delusion. Perhaps it's delusion.
Yeah, but a useful delusion is what you're saying.
It's brutally useful.
Yeah.
And when I teach this, or when I talk about this, there's a lot of men who perhaps want to adopt it, but the mistake they make is they don't have the real world experience to back it up. I don't want people to be completely lose their minds.
Yeah.
We're not talking about that, but we're talking about the fact that I can name so many scenarios in my life where I was supposed to fail, and I did not fail. It's brutally realistic, it's brutally logical, it's built on competence, it's built on real world accolade and achievement. Everything I've ever wanted, I have achieved, and I have gotten. I have never failed at anything I've ever wanted, ever. So how am I gonna wake up and say, oh, I've got this weakness, that weakness, when I have 100% success rate? 100%. There's never a girl I wanted I didn't get. There's never a car I wanted I didn't drive. There's never a scenario where I said, I want to get through this, I didn't get through it. Every single thing I do are the things I am absolute best at. If I'll put boxing gloves on after this and I'll go fight and I will beat everybody. I'll destroy everyone. And I think I only enjoy things that I'm good at. And I also think that if I have X amount of hours in the day, the way I can be the most competitive, most fearsome predator is to spend all of my waking time doing things I'm the best at and leave things that I'm not good at to the other people who perhaps are good at them. Oh, I'm a lot more sensitive than people know. And this is one of the things I like to say. When I talk about depression not being real or how life is pain and suffering, that doesn't mean that I'm not saying those things because I've never felt that.
Yeah.
I'm saying those things because I know them intimately. Mm-hmm. I'm saying those things because I know exactly how it would feel to label myself a depressed person.
Yeah.
I know it very well. I just refused to do it. Right. So yeah, I'm absolutely not really a sensitive person. I would label myself sensitive. But maybe maybe, one second, I just want to go back to my original point. Yeah. Maybe my worldview is affected by, and we're talking about arrogance, when you wake up and all you do are things you're world level at. Yeah. Everything you do are things you're fantastic at, right? Mm-hmm. All of the time. Yeah. And you beat everybody all of the time at all of it. Yeah. Aren't you going to have a degree, a tinge perhaps, of arrogance?
Of course you are.
So, but would I label myself an arrogant person? Well, I'm not going to sit down and say I'm good at something I'm not.
Right.
So I don't think I'm unrealistic. I think I take care of absolutely everybody I love in every single way. I think anybody who's ever needed me, I've been there for them if they've deserved it. I think anybody who listens to my message is becoming a better person overall. I genuinely believe I'm fixing and helping society. I don't know what else more I'm supposed to do. I mean, to a degree, I'm almost martyred myself. Mm-hmm. What else more can I do? My options at this point are either to continue to help people and explain to men why I became so successful, which is all I'm basically doing. I'm saying you're a man and you're upset and you want to be X. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you how I became what I wanted to be. Mm-hmm. This is what I did. I think God wants me to be the best possible version of myself. I think that God dislikes people who are lazy. I said this to somebody once and he got very offended. Said, God doesn't like lazy people. God has created you and he wants to see the absolute best you can be. I think that if you don't take care of yourself, God has no interest in taking care of you. If you have a Ferrari on the drive and you don't take care of it, who's going to take care of it? Nobody. I think that taking care of yourself and being the best possible version of yourself you can be is how you please God. I think that's one of the best ways to praise him, is to wake up every day and say, I need to be the strongest, smartest, fastest, most fearsome, most stoic, most capable man I can possibly be. This is how I please God. So I think your duty to God is also these things. And that's another massive source of strength that I get. When I'm alone in a jail cell, I understand that God is still watching and God would be unhappy if I couldn't handle it. I don't think, maybe we can talk about God, or we can also talk just about basic cosmic balance. I don't believe you can become the most famous man on the planet, calling yourself the top G, without the universe testing you if you're really about it. I don't think you're going to get to a point where the universe, whatever you want to call it, is going to say, is he really the top G? Yeah. and you're going to have to prove it. If you walk through life and say, I'm made of iron, I'm Mr. Tough Guy, sooner or later someone's going to check you and find out if you are or not. So when I was doing this for a very long time, I wasn't ignorant to the fact that something's going to come along and see if I am who I am. So when I'm sitting in a jail cell by myself with cockroaches all over the floor, I'm like, okay, this is my chance to show I'm not full of shit. Was I full of shit? No, I wasn't. Am I going to allow everything I've ever said and my last name and my duty to God and everything to go down the pan, or am I going to just man up and fucking win? So I saw it, I guess, to a degree as an opportunity, but there was a massive burden of responsibility on me on how I had to perform. I didn't have time to be depressed or sad. This is what I'm saying to you earlier. I didn't have time. I had things to do. Top G's kids can't eat. Top G's women can't pay the bills. Top G's business is over. No, I had to fix all of it from jail and fix myself and get out. I was very busy inside of my brain, staring at a wall. So I didn't have time for this. And this is another thing I try and explain to people, and I don't understand about, and I talk about men specifically because I understand how to be successful as a man. When men say to me they're depressed, with unlimited options, with the capability to become anything you desire, with God giving you a full and able body and mind, how do you have time to be depressed? You have so much you could do. There's so much that you need to do to be your best self. And you're competing against men like me, and you're finding hours a day to be sad? No wonder you're going to perpetually lose forever. That's suicide. So how do you find time to do this? It's brutally ineffective. You have a brain, you have a mind, you have a mental model. You can't think of everything. You can't do everything. You can only have certain frameworks instilled inside of your mind. As a man, you should be hyper-competitive. You should try and be the best version of yourself you can be. You're competing against every other man on earth for the girl you want, the car you want, the house you want, the watch you wear. It's all competition. You should be as competitive as you possibly can. Anything that's inside of your mind which doesn't allow you to be competitive should be erased. This is why I can't name a weakness. I can't name a weakness I have. I've compensated so heavily for any weakness that may exist, I don't even see them anymore. I think that believing in God certainly makes you more powerful, which is proof for God. If God makes you more powerful, then God is real. So maybe that's very simplistic, but if I believe in God and I'm a more powerful version of myself because I believe in Him, then He must exist. God has made me more powerful.
Well, it's the act of believing Him that makes Him exist. It's another way of saying it.
Correct, yeah. So this is why I believe faith is such an important thing. But I think everybody has a God in them. There's no such thing as atheists. If you look at the people who say, I don't believe in God, they worship a flag and a vaccine. So everyone believes in something. So you have to decide what your religion is. And I, once again, refuse to believe in anything that takes away power from me. I believe in things that make me more powerful. And I believe that believing in God gives you a new degree of strength. And I also think everybody to some degree believes in God. I don't care what anybody says. If you put anyone in that submarine just before it imploded, everyone would pray. Everyone. So it's ignorant to even say you don't believe in God at this point. There's right and wrong in life. All this complete subjectiveness, this mush they're trying to create, is done on purpose to confuse us. I like the idea of right and wrong. I like the idea of not having a choice. If you walk in, if you're hungry and you walk in to buy a sandwich and there's 100 sandwiches, it takes 10 minutes. If there's one sandwich, isn't life easier sometimes? So all this subjectiveness and all this choice and all this garbage, sometimes when I'm like, okay, I want to be a good person, I want a framework to adhere to that makes me a good person. Well, this is very clear. Yes, no, easy. There's been times I was in jail and I just got up and just felt like, like just shadow boxed a bit. I don't know. It's like you just felt it. Like I'll be okay. I will win. I don't feel God when I'm sad or something like that. I think that the whole idea of spirituality, and I believe God Himself, He wants the best for you. And it's interesting, how we're tying religion to my worldviews, because my worldviews were the same before religion. I guess before it was the cosmos, or just the way the universe works, or light, dark, yin, yang, etc. I still say these things, but now I attribute a lot more of it to spirituality, a lot more of it to God. And I chose Islam because it's firm, and I believe that I'm a person with firm principles. So I'm obviously going to liken myself, or I'm going to feel an affinity to a religion that has firm principles, because that's who I am as a person. I'm a person who's principled, yes, no, and I have no problem with people sitting with me and saying, what you're saying is bigoted, or what you're saying is wrong, or what you're saying is insensitive. I think Islam also has a similar issue.
I think you also chose the winning team.
Oh, it's completely the winning team. It's the winning team. and it's the winning team, and I didn't choose it because it's the winning team. It's just the winning team because it has principles.
Yeah, I agree.
And unfortunately, when you have no principles, if you stick up, if you don't believe in it, if you have no hard line, if you'll accept anything, then you don't believe in anything. Yeah. As soon as you'll accept anything, then you have no hardcore beliefs. If you have any set of principles or you have any things you believe in, there's going to end up being a barrier, and the people who fall outside of those barriers are going to be offended by it. That's the reality of it. If you have a religion or a belief system that doesn't offend anybody, then it's not a religious or belief system. That's my view. So yeah, I chose the winning team because I think more and more people are starting to understand how important God is in society. This is the first time in human history we're testing society without God. And what do we have? We have evil. We have Satanism. We have degeneracy. And I think that most people are starting to understand that God is really needed. When I was young, I used to make fun of Bible bashers. I used to make fun of them. And now I'm like, we need more. Where are they? We need more Bible bashers. So yeah, and I guess I certainly feel more powerful since I've reverted. But I always felt powerful anyway. But I guess now, instead of just believing it's the cosmic nature of the universe, or let me change that. I always felt a strong affinity to my last name and my ancestors. So I always had to a degree, a spiritual aspect to where I got my strength. I always felt like, well, my dad is watching me, or my ancestors tried very hard for me to be born, so I can't disappoint them. So I've always had this spiritualistic side. Like, imagine the disappointment my ancestors would feel if they fought saber-toothed tigers and survived World War II and went through all the garbage they went through just for my father to be born, and he suffered like he suffered to raise me, for me to be raised and become the most famous man in the world and call myself top G and then cry when I went to jail. What am I? What kind of bitch? What am I going to go, wah? No, I go to jail with my head held high, and if they put me in jail for the next 20 years, I'll walk in there with my head held high. And if anybody sees me, I'm not going to be a broken man. I refuse to be a broken man. It's disrespectful to everybody who ever died or tried hard for me to be raised, for me to emerge from this difficulty as a broken person. That's absolutely and utterly selfish. When a man sits and says to me he's broken or he's depressed or he's sad, etc., that's selfishness. You have shit to do. Yeah. And you have people to be respectful to, including people who are no longer here. I don't have time. They can put me in solitary confinement for 20 years, and when I walk out of there, and the first podcast I do, I refuse to be called broken. I refuse. And that's because I feel like I had a duty to my ancestors, and now I feel like I have a duty to my ancestors and a duty to God. So I've always felt that. And there's something that people say, you tried your best. And that's true. But a lot of people overuse it. People say, oh, well, you didn't get it, but you tried your best. 99% of the time, they didn't try their best. People don't actually try very hard for things anymore. I am truly, genuinely trying my best. I don't waste a minute of my day. Before this podcast, as I set up cameras, I'm working. I don't waste a minute of my day. I do not miss a training session. I do not miss an email. I do not make mistakes. I'm on it. So I'm trying my absolute best. If I fail for the first time in human history, then I failed. But at least I get the satisfaction in my heart of knowing I actually really tried my best. Most people don't get to get that satisfaction because they know deep down they could have tried a bit harder. Whereas if I end up in jail, I'll be like, Andrew, you did everything you could have done. So that gives you a level of peace. I did my best. My ancestors are proud of me. God is proud of me. I did my absolute best. I couldn't have possibly done better. And I got hit with a lucky punch, and that's life. And all I can do is just smile regardless. So we'll talk about how I'm actually quite a sensitive person. Yeah. I think the reason people believe what I say is because they can feel that I feel when I talk.
Yes.
And it's because I feel things.
Yes.
So I'm not a cold person at all. I'm just a person with a lot of emotion that I try and control and channel in the correct directions. But I think that, yes, it's a superpower to a degree.
Well, I think that's why people are, one of the reasons that people are so drawn to you, because you let whatever wants to come through.
And it's also why so many people hate me.
Yeah, of course.
Because there's no light without dark. Yeah. There's no joy without pain. Can't have a rainbow without a little rain. That's how it goes. So I think that it's definitely a superpower for life. It's something I'd encourage every man to learn how to do. Yeah. It's certainly something worth practicing. It's the reason I don't learn another language, because I haven't mastered English yet. Right. So I refuse to learn another language. I can't imagine me and my personality and Andrew Tate stuttering in Spanish. It just be like, what is this garbage? Yeah. So I don't have time. Yeah. So I will only speak English for the rest of my human years. That's it, because I have not learned every word in the dictionary yet. But yeah, I guess to a degree it's a superpower. It's extremely beneficial in all aspects of life, especially relationships. I'm not going to lie. I don't argue with women very often, because any woman who respects me and listens to me, I can very quickly and compendiously explain exactly why I'm correct.
It's make the most powerful skill.
The most powerful thing about it is there's two levels to it. One, making people understand exactly what you think.
Yes.
And the second one is making them think what you think. I think that charity, even of itself, I think charity is probably one of the most selfish things you can do, which most people say, I'm giving money. I give $25 million a year. There's a website, takepledge.com, you can see it. And I feed children all across the war-torn countries, mainly in the Islamic world and in Africa. Am I doing that for the children? Yes. But I also feel great. I feel good for doing that. So it's not a selfless act.
No, nothing selfish.
Nothing selfish.
And it shouldn't be.
And it shouldn't be, that's right. So when I'm helping all these people out here, I'm not doing it because I'm some philanthropist. I feel good helping people and people sending me emails saying, you changed my life. I feel good about it. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I'm just Mr. Philanthropist and I just care about the world. No, I like helping people because I feel good about doing it. It makes me feel good inside, which is why I do it. So yeah, I use my power to feel good. And I think the easiest way to feel good is to make others feel good. I believe that humans exist that way, and I think that's why we're societal animals. Even in jail, when I felt my worst, my goal was to make someone else smile. Because if I can make someone else smile, I would smile. So on my worst days, I was my most charming, my most energetic, my most interesting, my most talkative.
Yeah.
I was happiest on my worst day because I decided that's how I have to be to stop myself feeling bad, because I decided. I also feel like, it's kind of interesting. No one's emotionless, and I certainly feel things. And I'm going to come up with a theory, which you're going to call complete garbage, because I am not qualified, but this is my theory.
Go for it.
I believe that emotional energy is a lot like a bucket of water. You have all this emotional energy, right? You have a bucket of water. And then you have a bunch of different holes you can pour it down. So I believe if you wake up one day and you feel particularly depressed, you don't feel depressed. You just have a lot of emotional energy that day. Some days you don't have that much emotional energy and life's pretty calm. But some days you wake up and you have this big bucket of water. And the superpower is deciding which emotion you're going to put it in. Not to not feel the energy, but to decide which emotion you're going to put it in. And I think that's my superpower. I don't have the superpower of being able to stop myself feeling things. I have the superpower of being able to choose how I use that energy and what I decide to feel. And then if you want to be hyper successful as a person, you have to be very careful to avoid the happy hole. Because happy is what everyone thinks they would choose. If you had this emotional energy and could choose any emotion, you'd choose happy. But if you choose happy, you don't get much done.
What do you choose?
I choose, if I had to choose how I wanted to feel all the time, I would choose proud. And proud means you have to work. Proud means you have to do things. You have to achieve things. If you want to be proud and be realistic, you have to do fantastic things. So my default favorite emotion is proud. That's how I'm happiest when I feel proud about anything. I love proud. To feel good. I don't like happy. If I feel happy, giddish happiness like a child or like a females usually default to happy. They don't care how they get there. They just want to get there. They just want to feel happy. I avoid the happy hole because I think people who are desperate to only feel happy are the ones who are addicts, gambling addicts, drug addicts, drink too much, do dumb shit. It's all temporary, no delayed gratification. That's how you destroy your life, choosing the happy hole. So we were talking earlier about jail and how when I felt particularly bad, I'd wake up with a whole bunch of emotional energy. It's unchanneled, it's a bit wild, so I guess that can be perceived as sad or depressed. You're out of your routine. So I would sit and go, okay, I have all this emotional energy today, where am I going to put it? And I'd put it in a place where perhaps on that day I might feel happy, or perhaps I'd choose something else, but I would try my very best to take all the energy and put it into a place where feeling that emotion was the most competitive emotion, or was the perfect emotion for me to be as competitive as possible in that particular scenario. So yeah, on days where I woke up and I felt a little bit sad, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to turn the charm on today. I'm going to make everybody laugh. And by the end of the day, I felt fantastic. When it felt completely terrible, I do have the emotional control to not feel that. But I decided to let myself feel it because I felt like I wouldn't learn as much if I turned my brain off.
That's right.
So I've talked on PBD about Tristan. Tristan and I have the same superpower. Tristan didn't care about jail. He didn't care. He didn't, or he acted like he didn't care. He acted like he didn't care. But that was his coping mechanism. Don't care about jail. I decided, no, I'm going to care. I'm going to feel everything. I'm going to allow myself to feel these negative emotions because I feel like I will learn more. I could have done what Tristan did. I could have woke up and said one day or later, they'll let me out. Still rich, give a fuck. Could have done that. I didn't do that. And jail, that's why he sleeps. That's why I have nightmares. Because I don't believe his jail experience was that traumatic, because he turned his brain off to it. And that is a superpower.
Yes.
And I do have that power. If I went to war, I could go to war and watch all my friends be blown to pieces and still fight. Yeah. I would still be capable. I can turn my brain off if I have to, but I decided not to, because I felt that feeling things would teach me more, which is why I'm kind of arguing your point about death and rebirth, because I feel like I don't have to fully break. I just have to get close enough to the edge to learn something and come back. Does God want me to break? I don't know. You asked the question. And if he does, I will break. Right?
Well,
but
you won't have a choice.
I won't have a choice. But jail itself was terrible. Like, we're talking about vulnerability. I can sit and explain all the things I struggled with in jail. It was absolutely terrible. And I think a lot of people who are watching this, I think they need to keep in mind, I wasn't in jail. I was in Romanian jail.
What's the difference?
Well, it's the poorest country in Europe, and it's built during communism, and it's basically designed to torture you. Yeah, I mean, it's not like jail, like we imagine jail. I don't want to insult the Romanian justice system, and I don't want to insult any Romanians. I'm still within the confines of Romania, but I think most people at home understand what I'm talking about. I didn't have yard time. I didn't have any friends. I was in a room for 93 days. I did not leave that room unless I was being dragged to court in a language I didn't understand to be sent back to the room. Yeah, it was hard. And you don't sleep very well. People think you just sleep it off, but you can't. The jail is very loud. There's a lot of distressed people in there, a lot of upset people. The energy is sad. Yeah, it's a bad place to be. But I knew that my only option was to deal with it, so I knew that not handling it wasn't an option. So if not handling it, it's not an option, the only option left is handling it. So you just have to find the best way to do it. And I certainly allowed myself to feel a lot of emotions in there that I could have probably blocked out, so that I could learn as many lessons as possible. And I've learned a lot of things. But I would say that, I mean, all in all, I understood as a man, you need to have a strong body so you're not attacked by anyone else, and a strong mind so you don't attack yourself. And I think jail in many ways is just pressurized life. And if you feel a little bit angry outside of jail, you'll be very angry in jail. It's pressurized life, and you can't distract yourself with anything. Most people, if you feel angry right now, you're like, oh, that pissed me off, and then you get on your phone and talk to someone else about something else, and you distract yourself. But you're left alone with your thoughts, and you can't distract yourself. And God decided to put me in there to learn some things. And I think it just confirmed a bunch of things I already knew. And I think it was a chance for me to prove to him and to prove to myself I'm not full of shit. And I think that was...
Did you worry that you were full of shit?
Never. But it's good when you get to test it. No, but this is actually the truth. I said, Top G, right? It's a name, it's a nickname, blah, 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 Top G. The basic premise behind it and why I'm idolized by all these young men especially is I'm Top G, the number one G, the guy who can do anything. He's the guy. I never for a second when I was saying it didn't mean it. I never for a second when I was saying it thought I was full of shit. So God was like, okay, let's find out if he's full of shit. And I was placed there and I said, all right, this is a chance for me to prove to myself and prove to God and prove to the man watching to the prison guards and prove to everyone else, my ancestors, that I'm not full of shit. I had a sense of duty in there and I feel like I performed it exceptionally. And it doesn't matter if they kept me in there for 3 months or 3 years or 30 years. I have to perform. That's who I am. And I will default to rationalizing, as you said, whatever it takes. I will come up with any rationale and I will say it in any way which is interesting and engaging and convincing enough to the outside world and to myself to install it in my brain that allows me to compete. That's just what I'm going to do because I don't want to lose anything ever. And yeah, life, perhaps if we want to extrapolate this out, perhaps God's trying to break all of us. Maybe life is a big competition of who breaks last. I would actually argue, and I said this before, that the number one indicator of a man's success is his ability to deal with stress. I don't think it's IQ. I don't think it's physical capability. I don't think it's anything. If you take a man who can deal with a bunch of stress, he's going to be more successful than a man who can deal with less stress. How much stress you can put up with has a direct correlation to the kind of life you're going to live. Most people who want my life don't have my life because they couldn't handle my life. Yes. That's why. They go, I want to be like Tate. I want fast cars and private jets and all these girls and all these kids and all blah, blah, blah. But they couldn't handle it. They couldn't deal with the pressure of it, which is why they'll never get there. Because even if they get anywhere near it, they'll have a mental breakdown. So how big your life is and how successful you are in the physical realm is directly linked to how much stress you can deal with. And perhaps God's trying to break all of us. And he's trying to find all of our limits. I think most people at home watching this probably have something going on in their mind right now or something going on in their lives that might break them. Yeah. To me, it would be nothing. To them, it's a big deal. So God's out here to break all of us. And I want to be the guy who breaks last. you have two responses to that. You can either be intimidated by the fact that God is out there trying to make your life difficult, or you can be excited by the idea of it and saying, this is my chance to prove myself to God. Right. Which is what I was saying earlier on in the very beginning of our podcast, why I've adopted the mindset where struggle is semi-exciting to me. Yeah. God is out here trying to ask me questions or put me through scenarios where I get to prove myself to him, and perhaps that's why all the bad things happen. Maybe that's why that girl left you. Maybe that's why he made you love her so much, so that she could break your heart and fuck your best friend on purpose, so that you, to see how close you could come to breaking. Maybe that's what it's all about. Maybe that's the fun of it. I do believe that the moral arc of the universe does bend towards truth. And that's not my saying. I think that's Martin Luther King's. But I think that it bends towards truth and justice in the end. I think that the battles we are currently fighting in society, which look hopeless, in the end can be won. And I feel like I am doing his will by standing up and telling the truth. I think I'd have to be a complete coward of a man to end up having all of the masculine youth of the planet paying attention to every word I say, and then say, oh, but if I tell them good things, if I help them and help the world by extension, I might get in trouble. That'd make me a bitch, and that's not who I am. So I think if you give any man worth his salt that degree of power and influence and responsibility, he's going to stand up and say, okay, this is how you should live as a man, and this is how you can make the world a better place. Unless he's afraid of the repercussions by the evil people, by the people who are on the other side, who are genuinely evil and satanic, who are out to destroy good and truth. And I'm not a coward. I've never seen myself as a coward. And in fact, we don't talk about vulnerability. The number one thing I could never exist as is a coward. I think that's, you want to talk about my biggest fear. It would be knowing I'm a coward. Seeing myself as a coward and being very realistic and knowing I was actually a coward. I couldn't accept that, because I feel like I would be disappointing all of my ancestors and God, and I would have been full of shit all the time I was talking. Now I'm a fake, now I'm a liar, and I'm none of those things. Right. When I say to the camera and I sit here and talk about depression not being real, I mean what I say, because I've lived enough shit to tell you that if depression was real, I would have been depressed. And people know that, which is why they listen to me in the first place. I would hate to look in the mirror and know I acted like a coward on that scenario. I can't be that person. Well, I like to think of myself as a man with plenty of love in his life and a very loving man. I also like to think of myself as an extremely brave person. I've never been a coward, and even just the idea of being a coward is enough to motivate me to do nearly anything. So if you were to try and, here we go, vulnerability. If you were to try and manipulate me, how could you manipulate Andrew Tate, one of the smartest people on the face of the planet? Well, you would have to try and convince him that it was the only brave act. That's how I could be manipulated. Now, I allow manipulation to find out where my enemy wants me to go, use my mind to break the trap, punish the perpetrators. I will allow them to manipulate me, and at the end of their attempt, I will decide whether I agree with their attempt or I destroy their attempt. Right. But that would be give you the best possible chance. And I give you a perfect example of it. COVID, when on day one, when everyone got locked in their houses and they were talking about Italian hospitals being full and people were dying on the street in China, when everyone believed because it was brand new, day one, me and Tristan decided to fly to Sweden and just run around the nightclubs because it's the only open country. Did we do that because we have medical expertise? Did we do that because we were guaranteed to not get sick? Did we do that because we knew something other people didn't? No, it was the brave choice. The brave choice is to go do something reckless. We might all die. Let's die in a nightclub in Sweden instead of dying in our house. So we always have chosen and defaulted to the brave choice. And part of me, maybe when we talk about excitement, I love when God or life or the universe or whatever you want to call it gives me a chance to be brave. I love when he gives me an opportunity. Here's your chance to be brave, Andrew. Here is your chance to show you are that guy. Here's your chance to have another story where everyone else would have failed, you would have succeeded. Here is your chance to win. I love that because, you know, it's easy to fly around on private jets and stay in 5-star hotels with a bunch of beautiful women and drive Bugattis around. Cool. But where's the point where I get to actually prove I mean every word I say? Right. So God gave it to me. So yes, thank you. I agree. We agree. Thank you. And if God decides I have to go back, then the best mental model I can have is not the Romanian system of justice is unfair. It's corrupt. I got too big. The Matrix got me. No, the best mental model is God wants me to learn something here. And he's going to teach me that through suffering. He's going to make this difficult, and he's going to make me feel pain, and he's going to make this as hard as he decides it needs to be, so that I can sit here and learn things. So I'm going to go and sit with my cockroach friends, and I'm going to learn. I learned, I've never had nightmares before in my life. That surprised me. But they're here now. That's life. I learned that, I guess. I learned that when I got out of jail. I didn't have nightmares in jail, which is strange. I had nightmares when I got out. Maybe it's fear of going back. Don't know. But what else did I learn about myself? I had already pre-decided and had already told the universe how I would act in said scenario. This scenario was not a scenario I hadn't discussed or didn't believe could happen to me. I had already analyzed, if this happens, what are you going to do? It was a pre-designated plan. And I just followed the plan I had already laid out for myself when I had already psychoanalyzed myself without my qualifications. I had already decided what I must do, so I did it. And I was able and capable of following the plan and following through. So I'm not a liar. I'm 0% full of shit. I performed exactly how I needed to perform and how I knew I would perform. So when I talk about being top G and mental control and depression is not real, everything I say is true. I performed exactly as I could. And I should. There is a side effect, which happens to be these nightmares. But my attitude towards the nightmares is, yes, thank you. Good. I don't want them to go away. They will go away when whatever needs to be dealt with is dealt with by my own mind. And like I said, if anyone else could fix them for me, I would not allow them to, because I believe it is my lesson and it's my pain and my trauma and it's mine to deal with. And if I have to keep them forever, I'll keep them. I am not afraid of feeling negative. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of having nightmares. I don't wake up going, I want to feel good. I don't care. So if I have to feel miserable, it doesn't bother me. For me to sit and say to the man who made me the man I am today, who I, once again, never felt unloved by, who tried his very best to raise me, who sacrificed for me to exist, who gave me my last name, who bestowed upon me the honors and principles and morals I live by today, for me to be angry at him because he was busy some days would be brutally ungrateful. No, I'm not allowed. No, I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed that feeling. It's ungrateful. I refuse to accept it. I refuse to feel it. I truly believe I had the best father on earth. I truly believe it. I don't believe, even now, if I have sons, I don't talk about what children I have publicly, if I have sons or when I have sons or my sons I have, whichever one it is, they will get my time, sure. They will get my dedication, absolutely. But I have expectations of them because of their last name. And they're going to have my time while we're working towards something fantastic. I'm not going to just sit around with my kids just for hours because they just deserve it. There's no participation trophies in the Tate household. Right. And time is a trophy, and it must be earned, like everything else in life. So I'm not going to sit and have sons and go, well, he's my son, so we're just going to all day do fucking nothing. No, we're going to all day do something important. Or I'm going to go do something important. And he can sit around and do nothing by himself. Well, as a man, you have to make a choice. And I think it used to be more binary than it is today because of the nature of money and empire and how things work. But as a man, you have to make a choice. You either go to war and come back with stories, or you sit at home all day and be a second mother, and then you're not a man. You have to find the balance between the two. Right? My father was away a lot, but he wasn't away a lot because he was doing nothing. Right? So if you have a soldier as a father, okay, he's not there, but he's doing something. He's coming back with a story. And I think that was typical in a lot of households for a very long time. Maybe it's changed a little bit in modern times, but typically the man went away, did whatever he had to do, and then came back with a story or a hunt or whatever. Sure. So that's how I saw my father living his life, and that's how I want to live my life. Mm-hmm. I will do the same thing. I don't think I would be the same man if I decided to say, okay, I have a son now, so I'm just going to stay at home. Mm-hmm. And I think that I need to be a kind of man my son wants to emulate, which means I have to be a hero. And I don't think you can be a hero sitting at home. So I think that I need to, he needs time, of course he does, but he also needs an example set. And that example must be set out there in the harsh, brutal realities of the real world. So it's time. Now the argument is quantity of time versus quality of time. And I would argue that the quality of time I will give my sons is going to be much higher.
Are you a man of love?
I think a lot of those things come from love. Let's analyze this. I think a lot of those things come from love. I think it's very difficult to do nearly anything important if it's not, perhaps to a degree, driven by love or the desire for love. I think the reason a lot of men want to become rich is because they want to feel loved or feel important or to matter. Mm-hmm. I also feel like the reason that a lot of men do the things they do is for love, either of themselves or of someone else. I think the reason men go to work is because they love their family. The reason you go to the gym is because you love yourself. I think that love is a very powerful driving force. I certainly feel love. My world is full of love. Like, I would argue I'm one of the most loved people on the planet. Like, if I check my phone, it's just love. Yeah. It's endless emails of people I don't know who love me, endless females who do know me love me, endless pictures of children saying they miss me. Like, I'm a very loved person in a very loved world. I love a lot of people.
You love.
I absolutely love, but because I believe in myself so strongly, I feel like the way I love them is to have a degree of authority over them. Not in a crazy psychopathic way, but in a I love you, so you should do this.
Right.
I love you, so act this way. I love you, so don't do that. Almost in the same way a parent loves a child. You love your child, so you don't let them eat candy all day because you love them.
Yeah.
I'm like that with everyone in my life because I see myself as the most competent person on the planet. So I'm like, I love you. I care about you. You shouldn't do this way.
Right.
Because you may think you know better, but you don't. You don't know better than me. I know best, and this is how it should be for anyone I care about. And it's the most powerful driving force on the face of the planet. It always has been. And it's only when people are going to wake up and have a true love for themselves and love for their community and love for their children and love for these things that we're going to start to resist the evil and the Satanism and the insanity which is coming in the world today. But I believe, as a man at least, your love only has value when you're capable, which is why perhaps I'm so obsessed with capability, because I want my love to have value. We talked about how time has value when you're at a certain echelon. I would also argue that love has value when at a certain echelon. If I'm in love with a girl, she can get a lot more from that love than if a Joe Schmo's in love with her, right? So my love has value because I have value. So I have to build myself, and especially as a man, if you want to feel loved and you want to give love, the more capable you become, the more valuable your love's going to be, and that's certainly how we're going to fix the world. So yeah, the answer is love, of course, but it can't just be blind, empty love. It has to be love that is backed by a brutal, harsh capability, which is born in the worst scenarios you're going to endure as a man. And the world at its baseline is a very brutal place. It can be. And I think that becoming comfortable with those scenarios and becoming capable in those scenarios is how you give your love deep, true value. But I think that, love is the answer. Love is the answer. A father's love comes with tests and trials and tribulations. What does a dad even traditionally do for his son? Take him out there, push him in the pool, let him struggle a bit, get him out. Put him on the bike, let him fall over, help him get up. You have to go through the bad things to be rewarded and the bad things to learn. That's how a father typically loves. And a father also loves by saying no. No, you cannot do that. So you nailed it by how society needs a father's love. Completely true. And society has actually hijacked the word love and tried to convince you that you don't need the father's love. Perhaps you need this unconditional love, which is more like a mother's love, if you want to gender it, perhaps. So it's unconditional. You can act without honor, you can act without courage, you can act without discipline, and you'll be loved anyway just because you exist. I don't believe that for myself. I believe if I remove all my morality, I will not just be loved by default, not by my family, not by God, not by society. I don't believe that. And the people who do believe that, who think I should be loved just for existing, regardless of how I act and what I think, those are some of the most evil people on the planet. I truly believe. And they're also some of the most unsuccessful and unspectacular. And they're the people who are out here genuinely trying to change society in a direction which has never been tested, which I believe is going to lead to the depths of hell, truly. I think it's evil. So yeah, I agree with you. Father's love is important, but love in and of itself has boundaries. Love is strict. Love is hard. Love is a hard emotion.
Fierce.
Love is fierce. Love is not an emotion of, oh, do whatever you want. It's the opposite. Love is, no, you have to do this. I believe love is a very hard, very strong emotion. And if I think of how, let's say I have two women, one I love, one I don't love, and I enjoy both of their company, I'm harder on the one I love. I expect more from her in terms of how she acts. I expect more from her in terms of how she speaks to me. I expect more from her in how she presents herself to the world. The more I love her, the more I expect of her, the more parameters I want to put on her in regards to how she should behave, because I love her. Love is a hard emotion. So yeah, love wins, but not in the way that people think love. They've hijacked the word love and convinced people that love means, oh, I tolerate everything. That's not love. Even in jail that happened. Even in jail, I had moments of presence, and I looked around and go, this is not nearly as bad as like the media is saying it is, and the women on the phone are crying, and everyone's panicking. You know what? I'm not in a trench. I'm probably not going to get blown up. If a fire started, could I get through that steel door? If anyone could, it's me. I'm not on a submarine in World War II. There's no depth charges. I'm not in a car crash. It's fine. Cup of tea. It's fine. I did have those moments, right? So when you come to a moment, when you come to a moment of presence, even in a terrible scenario, it often ends up love. You're right. And I certainly have felt them, and I certainly could do it. My rationale would be, my argument would be, does that make me more powerful? Your argument, it does, and maybe perhaps I need to try it. Whereas I would typically, up until this conversation, I would say, I don't have time for that. I have things to do. So that's what it all comes down to. And then it comes down to, like I said earlier, am I here as a human to enjoy my experience as a human and enjoy being in this vessel and have as much fun as possible and be as present as possible? Or am I here to make the biggest impact I can possibly make and build a legacy? And of course, probably like most things in life, the answer is somewhere in between the two. Is probably some balance. Perhaps I'm slightly out of balance, and that's why I am living the life I am. But I'm not unhappy with it. And if I was unhappy with it, it wouldn't change anything. But I actually do consider myself, I do genuinely consider myself one of, because I put no importance on emotion. And when I say that, I try and make people understand that when I say no importance, it doesn't affect how I act. So I don't see the point in talking about it, or I don't see the point in acknowledging it, because it doesn't affect what I'm going to do for the day. So who cares, right? It doesn't matter if it's sunny or raining. If you're going to go to work, you're going to go to work. So why talk about the weather? So I don't put any importance on emotion. But I would actually call myself one of the happiest people on earth. Not because I'm particularly happy, but because I'm just never sad. So if it's never dark, it must be light. If it's never cold, it must be hot. So when I say, I will say I'm one of the happiest people on earth, and people think, oh, he's happy all the time. No, I'm just never sad. Never. So if you're never sad, you're always happy. When we were talking about how I've built my mental model and how I rationalize everything, one of the things I've done when I rationalize is I've changed the boundary of what I believe happy to be. So let's say happiness is this line on this table, right? Most people, this is the full spectrum of human emotion. This is absolute distraught because your parents just died. And this is extremely happy and giddish and you're laughing and jumping around like a child for whatever reason. Most people would probably put happy somewhere up here near the top. Yeah. Whereas I've just changed that bar. And I've just said, unless I'm truly distraught, unless I'm actually at the point where I can barely speak, let's move happiness down to here. Unless I'm truly distraught and something really bad's happened to me, I've already passed the threshold and I'm just a different level of happy. Yeah. Now, the more I talk to you, the more I realize that a lot of what I've done are just simply semantic tricks. Yeah. They're language tricks. Yeah. I've changed language tricks. If I'm not absolutely distraught, I am some version of happy. Therefore, I'm the happiest man on earth because I'm always some level of happy. Yeah. It's semantic tricks, but if it works, I mean, it could be a cheap language trick, but if the cheap language trick works, then it's more than a cheap language trick. So I've also changed what I believe happy to be. I think that there's probably 5 or 6 times in your adult life you're going to be unhappy, and the rest of the time you're just a different level of happy. Maybe less happy, more happy, but you're all at some point of happy. If you can speak, you're happy enough, because when you're truly upset, you can't even talk. That's what I think.
Because you need to understand that half of the people on this planet, 50% of all people alive, are females. So that woman you think is so special, that one you really want, she's so special, she ain't special, bro. She ain't special. Get that shit out your head straight away. Because the more special you think she is, the more you're going to fuck up when you're talking to her. She ain't special. She takes a shit in the morning like everyone else. She's a fucking human organism. Who cares? There's girls prettier than her around. Maybe you ain't got their phone numbers, but they exist. So you got to go out and get them. So don't be trying too hard. Now, the reason I get away with such little work is because I put such a high price tag on myself. I am a 4-time kickboxing world champion multimillionaire. So even any female, no matter how beautiful, knows I'm never going to be the guy hitting her up constantly. I'm not going to be the guy she can call and I'll always answer. I'm not going to be the dude who will give her lifts to work. She knows I got shit going on. Remember what I was saying earlier to you about how I've never struggled with females because I never focused on the females. These other game books and Roosh and all these idiots. This is the woman, get the woman, get the woman. Forget the bitch, forget her, forget all the chicks. Worry about yourself, get yourself straight. And when your own shit's straight, got yourself together, females are an added bonus. It's much easier to focus on yourself and get yourself high level and then start getting females than it is to forget about yourself. Spend all your time day game running around the mall, doing 1,000 approaches, trying to pick up a real fucking slut who will bang anyone and getting laid. Fuck that garbage. All the game you've read before is bullshit. It's absolute bullshit, and you're going to see why it's bullshit in one of the upcoming videos about how to keep hot girls, especially. You're going to see why it's bullshit. But it's bullshit, because if you go up to 1,000 girls, you get 5 phone numbers and one might fuck you. Yeah, I'm sure that's absolutely true, but so? You're going to spend your life, instead of becoming rich, instead of becoming strong, instead of becoming smart, you're just going to fucking run around a mall, approaching girls, day game? Bullshit, it's garbage, it's for children. All that shit is for children. I focused on myself. And that's how I've managed to attain the highest quality females. And also not attain, Retain, which is another thing we're going to do in a separate video, because retaining females is completely different to obtaining females. So we're talking about the factors that you cannot control in terms of females. We talked about the timing, how some stores are closed. We talked about how you have to make her like you more than the other guys. And sometimes that's difficult. Let me tell you something. She might be talking to a real G. If she's talking to me, you're going to struggle to make her like you more. That's the truth. I have more tangible assets, more physical, financial, and mental assets. Plus, I know the game. Sometimes you're outclassed. That's how it goes. Sometimes you're just outclassed. That's how it goes. It's another thing you can't really control. But what you can control in those situations is that you don't make her lose respect for you and don't kill your chance for the future by being a little begging for attention bullshit. Keep your honor about you. But if you're going to lose the game, there's two ways to lose it. With honor and without honor. You're going to lose. As soon as you sense you're going to lose, as soon as you detect, this girl, I'm not going to get her, then you can either lose her by begging, hoping for that little tiny chance and losing all your respect, or just thinking, you know what, I'm going to try again in 8 months. Fuck this bitch, I'll get someone else. So we all know what the correct decision is. Don't be fucking so desperate for a girl that you just lose all your honor and self-respect. Because then you're never going to get her. Ever. And that's some real dumb shit. So I want you to understand, when we start talking about women, there's a whole bunch of factors you cannot control. When it comes to approaching hot girls, you have to understand this. Some are open for business, some are closed. Next, what can you do? Besides the factors that you cannot control, what are the factors you can control? Well, body language is one of them, obviously. Clothes, we've discussed all this. But really, when it comes to approaching females, game as a whole is something I don't like. I don't like the idea of it, because it's bullshit. It really is bullshit. I cannot sit here and tell you how to act. Even if I told you to have the exact same mannerisms as me and say the exact same things I would say, they work for me, but they will not work for you. Because we're individuals. We're absolutely individuals. For the same reason when you learn to fight, you learn the basics of it. But if I were to say, mimic my movements millimeter for millimeter, I won't get hit and you will get hit because we're different bodies. It's just we're different people. So I can't sit here and say, do this, do this, do this. Anyone who tries to tell you that, what they're doing is they're trying to oversimplify an extremely complicated situation in an attempt to get paid. Because every single female you approach is going to be different. Every single scenario when you're in is going to be different. Every restaurant you sit in is going to be different. You're different to me. The mood she's in is going to be different. The weather is going to be fucking different. Maybe it's raining, maybe it's sunny. Everything has a small part to play. So for me to sit here and say, if you do this, and then you do this, and then you do this, you're going to get laid, is the kind of bullshit people package up, trying to make it a complicated situation seem simple to get money. Getting laid is not simple. The only thing you can do if you want to retain, especially in a future video, retain as well as obtain hot women, is be yourself. You cannot project and act for any considerable period of time. That's not possible. The only way you can be anything for a considerable period of time is to be yourself. So maybe you're a shit person. Yeah, fine, maybe. But you have to absolutely and utterly be yourself. Now, there are some things which are ironclad beneficial when it comes to getting females. You can be yourself and be a confident version of yourself as opposed to a meek version of yourself. Confidence is always attractive because men were built to lead. Like we said earlier, men were built for combat. So confidence is something you need. Everyone already knows this shit. And confidence doesn't have to be sitting there and bragging. Confidence is little things. When you pick the girl up, where are we going? I know where we're going. Not where do you want to go? She doesn't want to hear that shit. She doesn't want to make decisions. Females don't want to think. They want to be led down a rabbit hole of entertainment. They want to be entertained. They don't want to think. They don't want to sit there and have to think about it. They'll say, yeah, we're going here. Even if you get there and it's shit, because I don't like it here, so yeah, well, I do. Stick to your fucking guns. So confidence is obviously the first thing, but you know that shit already. Just be confident about who you are and what you say. Doesn't mean you have to be an asshole. You have to not be an asshole. In fact, a lot of people confuse the two. A lot of people go, girls like assholes. No, girls like confidence. But nowadays, only assholes have confidence. If you're the rare select guy who's not an asshole and also supremely confident, you're definitely going to fuck. You haven't got to be an asshole. It's the confidence they're attracted to, not the asshole qualities. So yeah, you absolutely have to be yourself. You have to be a confident version of yourself. But we've already talked about this in lesson 1. Believe you can do anything. You're about to go on a date with Megan Fox. Are you intimidated? No. Because you're the fucking man. And you're going to fuck her same night after taking her to the worst restaurant in town. Because you can do anything. Because you're a fucking Jew. That's how I think. I don't even brush my hair. I don't even shave. I rock up in fucking clothes and wear them for 2 days. I don't give a fuck. Turn up. Hi. Start talking shit. before you know it, she's naked. Because I know my skills. I know I'm the G. You know you're the G. You ain't got nothing to worry about. You can be yourself, and you can be a completely different person to me, personality-wise, and still be a G. You can say completely different things and still be successful. You can have different mannerisms and different techniques or whatever bullshit and still be successful if you've implemented the first lessons correctly.
I'm going to digress. There is a way to get revenge on women. Every time I've heard anyone say, oh, my ex broke up with me, she cheated on me, I need revenge. That's sick-minded. That's incel level shit. The only kind of revenge that you can get on a woman is this. Say goodbye politely. Keep working hard. Increase your value as a man. Wait 3 years, 4 years, 6 years, 11 years, and wait till you are the man. And she's just now some chick, 28, 29. And she's like, Tristan, you know, it should have always been you. Then you can either tell her no or break her heart again.
But the thing is, the sad part is, it's 5 years of work. At least 5 years of work. And nobody wants to do the work. It's like getting into shape, as I'm sure you know. It's, you know, when guys are, you know, fat and they're like, oh, well, you get women because you're in shape. It's like, well, you could be in shape, but it's for you, it's 2 years. It's 3 years, you know? Are you willing to do that? The same is with your finances, the same with your mindset, the same with lots of things. So, yeah, if you do the work, the women do naturally come to you, but it's years of work. And everyone wants a quick fix nowadays. Everyone wants a magic pill or a magic spell or a magic trick. And there are none.
Well, I think a lot of it has to come down with, success with women is much like success in business or success in sports. It's down to you. It's personal accountability. And that's what a lot of guys want to throw out the window these days. And what they want to do is they want to blame women. Right. It's like failing in every business you've ever attempted and failing to make money, and then blaming capitalism, or failing in every boxing match or every American football game and NFL game you've ever played, and blaming the referees or blaming the rules. No, it's personal accountability and it's personal responsibility. And when you see guys out there who say like all women are garbage, I believe them, because I believe all the women they get to meet are garbage. Right. Because they're bottom feeders. They're low tier men, and they're attracting low tier women. And low tier people of all sorts attract each other. Low tier men have low tier male friends, they get low tier girlfriends. And I believe the women they meet are garbage. They don't get to operate at my level, and they don't get to see how wonderful women truly are. Because I'm picking the fruit at the top of the tree. So I think a lot of these guys need to really, really look in the mirror, as I do. And sometimes I look at myself and think, Tristan, okay, you're a little out of shape. Tristan, okay, you know, you've been sleeping too much, you've been partying too hard, you got bags under your eyes, you've been, you know, you're letting yourself go a bit. And you have to keep yourself in check. You have to stay at the very top. And if you don't stay at your very top, you're not competitive anymore. Every single species on the whole planet is exactly the same. Every single female of every single species looks at the most competitive males and thinks, those are the ones I want to have my children. And women, human women, are exactly the same. So if you're not having the success with women that you want, don't go out there trying to blame women, and don't go out there trying to change women. I mean, the 6'4" thing, fine. I would have been tall regardless. I would have been 6'4". But if I was a really skinny dude who, you know, had no money, sat at home playing the Xbox, you know, I'd have no receipts on social media, no one would know who I was, you know, I'd probably have a patchy beard because of low testosterone, because I've never done any training in my life. That guy's not getting laid. 6'4" or no 6'4".
There are lots of situations in life where your hands are tied. Okay, you can let this destroy you, which is an option, and people do this all the time, drink themselves to death, I don't know, start cutting themselves, whatever stuff people do to cope with difficult situations. Or you can be sad anyway, because you're sad either way, and work 18 hours a day. You can work 18 hours a day, not let anything distract you, and stay focused on the mission, so that way you have less time to think about it, and you can be sad while you're working. And then, you know, when you start to come to terms with everything, you've got millions of dollars, as opposed to, oh, I've come to terms with everything, but I'm in a rehab clinic. So I think that bad things are going to happen to your life, and everyone watching, this is the sad truth of it. So I didn't really see why it was difficult. As much as it was unpleasant, I don't think it was difficult, because there isn't a way out of it. So it's the best way I can describe it. You could be a sad winner or a sad loser. So go and win every day.
So yeah, so it's not just that it's getting harder to be the man, it's getting harder to be not the man, because you don't even have the safety net of being able to pay $100 to sleep with a beautiful woman. So yeah, it really, really sucks to be most people in the world right now. But it is better to be a high value man. And mine and my brother's message of saying, you know, improve yourself, get smarter, get fitter, get stronger, dress better, and drive a nicer car, earn more money. When I'm saying that to young men, it's because I feel that that is now necessary in this world to live a really great life. You can live a life worth living without some of those things. But to live a really great life, you really do need it.
Has your heart ever been broken?
Completely. Everybody's heart's been broken. Every single man, every single woman has been through a period where they wanted someone back who didn't want them. Difference between me and everyone else is I never let my pride or my dignity go out the window for it. That's the big problem with a lot of this heartbreak stuff. It's not that you're feeling heartbroken is bad. That's natural part of the human experience. You just can't sacrifice your dignity for it.
Yeah. I'll tell you a very quick story. This is a story I've never told before. When I was, how old was I, 23? When I was 23, I was dating a ballerina. She was the prima ballerina of the Cambridge Ballet School in England. And I had no money. I was a fighter, but I was coming up. I didn't really have any money. And she lived far away, like an hour and a half away, but she used to come see me, and we were good for like a year and a half. I loved this girl, yeah?
And do the smart work before they do the hard work. It's kind of like talent, right? You don't notice if you're talented at something until all the hard work's done.
Yep.
I could be the most talented tennis player in the world, but I don't play tennis. So if I go down the tennis court, Joe Schmo's going to smoke me. I don't get to see my talent until I've worked so hard that I'm in the top 1%, and now I'm beating them because I have some God-given gift.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
You have to do the hard work first. If there's no hard work, there's no smart work. So someone's going to sit there and go, I work smart, I don't work hard, so I only have to work an hour a day. If working smart gets you a lot done in an hour a day, then you should work smart for 12 hours a day and get 12 times the work done.
I will never get to a point of absolute desperation and kill myself because I'm never going to get to a point of hopelessness because I don't believe in the idea of hopelessness. You cannot try and make me adopt thinking that will reduce my competitiveness as an individual. So I don't give a if I'm wrong. I don't believe in it. That's it. End of the story. So I don't believe in things that take power away from me. I don't believe in things that make me less competitive, and I don't adopt mental models that make me less competitive. Every single mental model I have are the most efficient ones I could find. They're the mental model I found that if I adopt, I become a more fearsome predator. That's it. So this is how I've come to all of my conclusions as an individual. If you take a man and give him a life shielded from problems that he never has any to face, I guarantee you he's terrible at being a man. The best men in the world have gone through shit. That's why women love scars. Because it didn't kill you. That's the whole point of it, right? So the best thing you can do as a man is look and go, okay, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard. I feel negative because these are all so difficult. I'm struggling with X, Y, Z. Let me internalize all of that and turn it into a superpower. Let me become genuinely uncomfortable with my situation in life and go and fix things. Because like I said, the universe is absolutely and utterly very giving. And if you truly hated being in the position you were in, you wouldn't be there very long. Every time I feel stressed or under pressure, I get excited. I hate to not be stressed. I wake up and I'm like, everything's good. Yes. Like, that's just how I am, right? It's how you look at the problems and how you use them to fuel you. So the question was, what's the problem for the average man today? What's the biggest problem? I think there's a whole host of problems. But what you have to do is frame it inside of your mind and understand that all of those problems are going to allow you, give you the fuel, the unlimited motivation that you need to become a successful and beautiful individual if you frame it in the right way. The biggest problem that men face isn't the problems themselves. It's just the way they've been taught to mentally frame issues. People think when bad things happen to them that somehow they're a victim to the universe and bad things only happen to me and this is so terrible. They don't understand that bad things happen to everybody, and the most successful person you know had all those, maybe even worse, at least the same bad things happened to them. They just framed it differently and used it. That's the difference. So I don't pray for an easy life. I pray for a life of difficulty that allows me to become a better and better person. I pray to become more competent to handle problems. I pray to put myself in a position where if the mass media machine attempts its very best to destroy my life, I can laugh and smile from my villa in Dubai. This is who I pray to become. I don't pray that nobody hurts me. I pray to be able to fight. So it's just a different mentality. I think a lot of people build their mindsets around trying to feel good. People who want to ignore the idea of personal responsibility or self-accountability because they feel better if they pretend it's not a real thing. They feel better if they pretend everything's someone else's fault. A lot of people's mental model and how they view the world is based around them feeling as good as possible. So people are basing their mindsets around trying to feel good. I have always tried to base my mindset around absolute competence regardless of how I feel. And there are certainly disadvantages to that. There are times you're going to be a lot more pessimistic, or you're going to be a lot more stressed, or a lot more, pissed off about certain things than others. Yeah, that can be seen as a downside. But like I said, I use all of those things for unlimited motivation to propel my endless upward trajectory. But if you construct a mindset that allows you to be as competent as possible, as opposed to feel any different or feel better, then you're going to naturally come to the conclusions I've come to. You're as competent as possible if you believe you can affect absolutely everything about your life. You're as competent as possible if you believe absolutely everything that's happened to you, whether good or bad, is completely your fault. You're as competent as possible if you believe the bad things that happen to you are going to allow you to work harder and become even better. When bad things happen to me, the first thing out of my mouth is good. Good. Andrew, they took $10 million out of the bank because they canceled you. Good. Good. That's just my response. Good. Andrew, this happened. Good. 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 Now I'm really pissed. Good. This mindset I've constructed allows me to be as fearsome a competitor as possible. It allows me to be a feared opponent in any realm of human endeavor, and that's the point of a mindset. Why would you have a mental model or a mentality that made you anything less? In the ultra competitive world that we've just discussing that everybody wants the things you have, why would you absorb information or construct a mental model that doesn't allow you to be as competitive as possible? I am a feared competitor in anything I do. Anyone who's up against me at anything is going to feel a degree of nervousness just because it's me. And it doesn't matter what it is. If you say, look, you're going to go learn how to play piano and you're going to play against someone else who's never played piano and you're going to learn, and that guy's Andrew Tate, you're going to be like, oh, fuck, I can't even play piano. But part of them's going to be like, oh, not Tate. Even though I have no piano experience, because they just know me. They know my mindset. They know my determination. They know I'm stubborn. They know I don't quit. They know I'm going to win. That's just who I am. So I've constructed a mental model that allows me to be competent and to always succeed. And that's how I've come to the conclusions I've come to. And I truly, once again, don't understand how people go through the world with any other mental model. I get asked all the time, well, what do you feel? Or what about happiness or depression? That doesn't even, how I feel doesn't cross my mind. I don't know how else to explain it. There are days where I'm pissed off or sad or happy. It doesn't cross my mind. It's just like, I woke up, whatever mood I happen to be in, I have things I need to do. It's a busy day. Zuby's here soon. I need to go training before he gets here. I had a meeting with the bank at 7:15 a.m. I have shit to do. Like, I didn't cross my mind about I was happy, sad, excited. I just had to work. So I think my mental model, to a degree, I'm certainly not a person who doesn't feel emotions, because we're all human. I certainly do. But I've never prioritized them in any regard. I haven't built a mental model that affects, I haven't put them in the middle of my mental model and then affected my actions based on how I feel for each one. It's absolutely and completely the opposite. I would love to do a podcast on a day where I'm particularly sad and a podcast on a day when I'm particularly happy. And I guarantee you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So that's what allows me to be competitive, right? Because if you're competitive, if you want to be the most competitive predator on the planet, you have to be able to hunt in the day and the night. You have to be able to do both. You have to be able to perform when you're happy and sad. You can't only be able to perform when you're happy. You can't only go to the gym when you're motivated. You can't only be a competent person when your life's going well, because when your life's not going well, you're no longer competent. Then you're going to lose to people like me. And it's player versus player. If you're the kind of person who can only do well when you're happy and you're competing against someone like me who can do well all the time, guess what? You lose. So my mental model, the answer is most of my opinions are just based around constructing a mental model that allows me to be brutally competitive. It's why I say depression isn't real. I've argued this point endlessly, and I try and explain to people, but they're not smart enough to understand that I don't care if I'm wrong. I don't care. I am more competitive as an individual if I don't believe I can become depressed. So I don't give a fuck if I'm right or wrong, because no matter what bad happens to me in my life, even if, heaven forbid, the worst things on earth that could happen to me, I could never become clinically depressed, because I would never self-diagnose myself as clinically depressed, because I don't believe in it. I believe that I am currently sad, but I have work to do, and eventually I will feel better. I will never get to a point of absolute desperation and kill myself, because I'm never going to get to a point of hopelessness, because I don't believe in the idea of hopelessness. You cannot try and make me adopt thinking that will reduce my competitiveness as an individual. So I don't give a f if I'm wrong. I don't believe in it. That's it. End of story. So I don't believe in things that take power away from me. I don't believe in things that make me less competitive, and I don't adopt mental models that make me less competitive. Every single mental model I have are the most efficient ones I could find. To the mental model I found that if I adopt, I become a more fearsome predator. That's it. So this is how I've come to all of my conclusions as an individual.
If the ocean doesn't reach a point of equal and opposite force, it will just engulf the entire planet, right? There has to be an equal and opposite force at some point. I'm not talking about freeing every single person from the matrix. I'm talking about freeing enough people who are ready to understand how the world really works, so that there's an equal and opposite force to the tirade of bullshit, the absolute clown world bullshit they're trying to push on all of us. If nobody stands up to it, we're going to end up just swallowing it all. Yeah. It's garbage. So you need to have an equal army on the other side. Money is certainly related to power, but the true power of the world is influence. I am currently one of the most powerful people on the planet. I can influence millions and millions and millions of young people with my mouth alone by speaking. That's why they fear me. And every single thing that's happening in the world today, whether it's a pitched battle, all of it is done with the goal of exerting influence on your mind. They're trying to control what you think. They're trying to control why you think it, why you believe it. They're trying to convince you that they haven't even put propaganda into your mind. And it's all a battle for influence. That's all this has ever been. Most people are not smart enough. Most people are not intelligent enough to self-analyze and defrag their own brains and understand they're being programmed. You didn't like me, for example. I don't like Andrew Tate. Why? Well, they told me not to like him. Who told me? Well, these people. Do they care about me? No. Most people don't get an opinion and break down where it even comes from. They just get an opinion and they defend it. And you'll see people arguing and fighting in the street over opinions they don't even know where they've come from in the first place. Most people are not intelligent enough for that. So everybody and everything you consume is going to influence you to a degree. The mass media machine is trying to influence everyone. I'm trying to influence everyone. I'm right here trying to influence people. I'll sit here and say, I'm trying to influence people at home. I did not say that girls above a certain age are horrible people. I did not say girls above a certain age are useless. I said girls above a certain age are less attractive than girls who are younger because of innocence. I'm talking about the Western world. And in the Western world, there's no girl at age, 32 in Las Vegas who is pure. Not a single one on the planet. So we can't sit here and apply what I'm talking about for the Western world to the Middle Eastern world. I'm under attack every single day. They're attacking my character. They're attacking my integrity. They're attacking my finances. They're attacking my freedom. They're attacking my companies. Every single day I wake up and there are people on the planet whose goal is to attempt to destroy me. So I am under attacks. I was kind of up and down. I was working in the fish market, but I was still fighting at the same time. I was training. Obviously, I was really young. Started to make a little bit of money fighting, but not much. And then I had different jobs. I sold television advertising and worked for an advertising company, etc. And I had my own business for a while trying to sell TV advertising. And I had a bunch of sales jobs back and forth, worked for car sales. I'd always been doing this and that, going from place to place. Unless it was a sales job, I never really took it that seriously because it was the unlimited commission that I found attractive. But outside of sales jobs, I just did my very best I did a whole bunch of things. It's been an eclectic, long, interesting journey. So I grew up with a bunch of very close Muslim friends, and I've always been not envious, but certainly I've had a large amount of adoration for their respect for their families, respect for their culture, their brotherhood, the way they operate. I've always thought it's a fantastic way to be. God knows the truth of our hearts. So I know that my reversion is sincere. I understand that because I'm in the public eye, there's going to be some degree of people who question it, but I know that mine's completely sincere, and the people who do it in a non-sincere way, God knows the truth, and they're not going to be able to fool him, so good luck. And someone else said to me, they said that it's important that someone like you that has all of the worldly treasures or everything that you could possibly ever wish for in this world still understands the importance of believing in God. I have a very small circle, but every single one of my friends has a utility. Like, we're all very capable individuals. We're all doing very important things. We all help each other and aid each other in different ways. I don't have any friends just to sit around and talk shit and do nothing. I guess in many ways, people would say, oh, well, Andrew, you have family and business partners, but I consider them my friends. We have a very small network of 5, maybe 6 people, and yeah, they're my friends. I'm not the kind of person who can fall victim to some random stroking my ego, and I'm not dumb. Like, I know a lot of people get rich and they're dummies. That's not me. I don't have any new friends. I have the same circle I've always had. In fact, it's getting smaller by the way. It gets smaller, not bigger. I don't have these random friends I party with, none of this stuff. I provide value by default, by being me. That's who I am. If you're going to be my friend, you need to provide some value to my life. Now, a lot of people, when they have friends, the value that's provided by their friend is that their friend makes them laugh or that their friend is funny. Well, I don't need that crap. I'm busy, right? So I need someone who's actually useful to me at real things. It's not a shallow way to look at it because people say that's shallow. Not at all. I think that in true friendship, in true relationships, whether it's man-woman or man-man or woman-woman, there needs to be an exchange of value. People need to both gain and receive value, and that's how you build true friendships. So you need to become useful to me. And the problem with doing that is that I already have extremely useful people around me who can already do everything. I don't need anybody. So when someone comes and goes, hey, I'd love to know you, why? What do you want to do? Sit around, talk shit? What do you want to do? Like I'm trying to do X, Y, Z. I'm fighting the Matrix. Can you fight the Matrix? Can you fight? If they can't do anything, I don't want to hang around with them.
There's a time when it comes to work smart, and most people are trying to do the smart work before they do the hard work. It's kind of like talent. You don't notice if you're talented at something until all the hard work's done. I could be the most talented tennis player in the world, but I don't play tennis. So if I go down the tennis court, Joe Schmo is going to smoke me. I don't get to see my talent until I've worked so hard that I'm in the top 1%, and now I'm beating them because I have some God-given gift. We have to do the hard work first. If there's no hard work, there's no smart work. So someone's gonna sit there and go, I work smart, I don't work hard, so I only have to work an hour a day. If working smart gets you a lot done in an hour a day, then you should work smart for 12 hours a day and get 12 times the work done. I am absolutely and utterly a believer in hard work. I'm a proponent of hard work. I have all this money and all I do is work. My entire life is work. This podcast is work. I'm getting in the car and going to another meeting, work. It's all work. My entire life is work. And people don't want to look at life that way. They want to talk about work-life balance and being lazy and all this crap. I don't believe in any of that. I believe in if you want to win, you have to outcompete the man who's prepared to do nothing but work. It's player versus player. If you're going to sit there and go, I don't want to work more than an hour a day, well, the guy who does want to work more than an hour a day is going to beat you. And no matter how smart you are, there's always a smart dude who's doing the same smart work you are for more hours than you're doing it. That's just the nature of the game. And this is why we talk about things like passive income. Passive income's a scam. I'm tired of people coming to me saying, I want to make passive income. And I sit there and say, it's not about it being a scam. It's about the mentality towards it. Look, everyone loves passive money, right? I make money as I sleep. I get it. You need to de-link your time to your money, because if you're only working for money, you run out of time, you can't make enough money. I understand all those principles. My point is, if you have no money and you're coming to me saying, I want to make passive income, why are you not making active income? Get up off your ass and work first. Because there's no such thing as completely, truly 100% passive. You're going to have to check on it. You have to maintain it. But the idea that people with no money are already so concerned with making money without work is amazing to me. You should be worried about active income. If you show me, if I'm a brokey and you show me how to make $1,000 an hour, I don't sit there and go, okay, but how can I make that passive? I go, cool, I'm making $18,000 a day. I'm going to work. You don't need to worry about passive income until you have no more time. I look at passive income because I have 18 hours a day I work. When all 18 of those hours are done and my workload still isn't finished, I have to find a way to make some of those income streams passive, either via staff or whatever else. And that's how I work smart. I use all of my time, and when all my time is done, now I have to become more efficient so that I can get more done within the same time frame. To sit there and say, I don't want to use my time, so I want passive income, is dumb shit. The 16-year-old making 45 grand a month, if he was to sit to me and go, I don't want to make the TikToks, I want someone else to do it, make it passive, that he wouldn't make any money. He's just working. You have to just work. At some point, you have to bite the bullet and just work. So when someone comes to me talking about passive income and they're a brokey, I'm like, you are just lazy. Lazy people never get anywhere in life, doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if it's tennis or money. If you're lazy, you're never going to go. A lot of people with no money are really, really arrogant. I know a lot of broke people who are very arrogant. People will shield laziness with anything. No one wants to admit they're lazy. So they'll shield it with disbelief. That's a scam. Or, I don't work hard, I work smart. Bollocks, more cover.
How do you be successful as a man? We'll talk about it. First thing, you need freedom, because you ain't a man if you're not free. And you may say, I'm not a slave, I get paid really well. Listen, the slaves got free food and free shelter in exchange for work. Now all they've done is got rid of the food and shelter deal, give you dollars, which you spend on food and shelter. And you basically have nothing left. So you're still a fucking slave. So first thing you need is freedom. If you're not free, you're not a man. First thing, you're not a successful man. So you should always be working towards freedom. And I mean freedom with your time. Do what you want. Freedom with your location. Go where you want. There's a riot. Cool. Go in Tokyo. See you later. Bye. Going to Australia. See you later. Bye. Freedom, one thing. The next thing that constitutes success to me is your network. Who are you talking to? Who are these people? Who will answer your phone calls? Listen, I got 2 phones, identical almost. Twins. I got 2 phones right here. And I can call one of many multi-millionaires. And when they see my name, they're going to pick up the phone. They're going to be like, oh, shit, Tate. Oh, wait, guys, wait. They're going to stop their conversation and be like, whoa, fuck, Tate, what's up, Tate? Because they know I don't call for no bullshit. They'll be like, fuck, money phones right now. So I can call multi-millionaires right now. I can have the best idea in the world. I can call a bunch of multi-millionaires right now and say, look, I need 100 mil. Here's my idea. Boom, 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 boom. We can make something happen. You can't do that. I can do that. Freedom. And then you get into the aesthetics of life. For people to view you as successful, you need good body language. You need physical presence. A man who's not dangerous, a man who has no physicality, it will never be seen as successful. Oh, I'm successful, I'm rich, and yeah, but I'll break your neck. Look how big my hand is. I'm gonna grab you by your neck, choke you till you die. Who's successful now?
I'm breathing and you're not, so I'm more successful than you. So you can't be a little bitch. And I understood this from a young age as well. So I'm sitting there at a young age thinking, I need to get a network of high net worth individuals who are, or not even rich men, but men who are driven, men who are making money. And I need to find a way to talk to them, work for them, learn what they know so I can become one of them. I need to get body language and physicality. I need to become big and dangerous. I need to be able to display that without saying it. I need women in love with me. I need beautiful women who adore me. I need these things because this is what shows the world I'm the fucking dog. So I'm sitting there and I understand what I need. And I knew this at 21, 22. A lot of you people are older than this. Older than me. You're older than I was. I'm telling you something. You're sitting there going, yeah. Didn't even cross your motherfucking mind. You've been too busy jerking off the porno and not thinking about what you actually need to do to be successful in this life. So these are the things you need to be a high value man. Because if you have all those things and then you get some money and you have geographical and time freedom, you're now genuinely successful.
Your mentality is heavily linked to your reality. And the fact that most people have such weak mindsets comes from the fact that they have a weak life, a weak body, a weak social circle, a weak network, a weak bank account, a weak relationship. And then their mind is weak. Well, of course. Whereas if you had a group of soldiers around you, men who were dedicated, who would ride or die with you, if you were strong, if your woman would never leave you no matter what because she idolizes you, then your mentality would be strong. Your mind would be strong by extension. So if someone comes to me and goes, I doubt myself, I usually look at them and go, yeah, I understand why. You're a little fat piece of shit and you're stupid. Of course you do.
Hey, Andrew, so how do I get like a six-pack quick? What's the fastest way to get a six-pack?
Why does it have to be quick? Why does it have to be easy? Why do you think life is all quick and easy? Why can't it be hard and difficult? Why can't you suffer? Because suffering is what gives it value. If everyone had a six-pack and it was quick and easy, then it wouldn't be valuable, would it? If everyone walked around with a six-pack and they got it easily, then no one would give a shit. The whole point is that it's difficult to get. Value is linked to difficulty. If you want something that is valuable, you need something which is difficult to obtain. The fact that you just said you wanted it quick and easily shows that your whole mental model is You shouldn't be thinking about quick and easy. You should be thinking about hard, suffering, pain, going through it. That's what you should be thinking about. This is going to be hard, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because when it is done, then everyone's going to know that I went through something difficult. Why do you want it to be quick and easy?
Success is the most overused word. Because we talk about success. Well, this guy, he's really successful. Not these motherfuckers. So let's say I'm working at a company. Yeah, I'm the big boss. Let's say I'm a guy. I go college. I go university. I go to this company. I work. I become a manager. I'm on $150,000 a year. I got a company BMW. And I wear a suit. And everyone at my job does as I say. By all measures, I'm successful. But here's the truth. When I leave that company, no one gives a fuck about me. I'm a nobody outside of that one building where I'm a little bit important. My wife doesn't want to suck my dick because I'm fat, because I didn't have time to train, so all I did was work. I got a BMW. I know hoes with BMW. I didn't even consider that a car. BMW, that's not a luxury car. That's fucking basic. I'm pushing supercars. You're a nobody. You're not successful for shit. Success for a man actually comes in many realms. It's actually nothing to do with being good at your job. Having money, yeah. You don't have to be good at your job to have money.
Depression is the ultimate motivation. Oh, so you're depressed. Okay, so you come along to me and you tell me you're depressed. I expect to see a huge list of what you're achieving per day. If you're unhappy with your life and you're depressed, I don't expect you to be popping pills and sitting laying in bed. I expect you to give me a huge list of everything you're achieving per day. Depression's a fantastic motivation. You know, but people are told the opposite. No, you feel depressed, that's wrong. You should be happy anyway. Take the pills, stay home, take some time off. Complete garbage. You're depressed? Okay, get up, go for a run, lift more weights, make more money, get a second job, get more girls. Like you can outrun depression. I'm a man who's always believed, and I think every man understands this, action over inaction. And I think it was General Patton who said, a good plan today is better than a perfect plan tomorrow. You got to do something, and you got to do something fast. Yeah. You're just sitting around talking about it and hoping for things to get better. I don't know about you gentlemen, but every time I ran out of money in my bank and I thought I'm going to sit around and hope for something to come, it never really worked out.
Right.
It never worked out. You know, it's like you can't be sitting around waiting for things to happen to you. Also, I think, especially in the West, a lot of people's problems are all in their mind. And I'm not saying that mental conditions aren't real, because absolutely some are. But I try and explain to people, look, the only thing on the planet you have genuine control over is your state of mind. Like, you can't even control your health. You might get hit by lightning.
You can't control other people. You can't control the weather. You can't control anything. The only thing you can affect in genuine real time is how you feel in your head. If someone comes to me and goes, oh, I get really shy and anxious, I'll say, so?
Right.
Not, oh, okay, that must be horrible. No, so? Do it anyway. Yeah, but I'm shy. I don't care. No one cares. The whole world doesn't care.
Nobody cares.
Go. If you could drop dead tomorrow, the world wouldn't care. The sun's still going to rise. People are still going to go to work. So you're going to sit here and worry about speaking? When people come to me and say, I'm not happy, I say, why should you be happy? And we're all adults here. This infantile mindset that we're all supposed to be like we were when we were 3 years old and, oh, something shiny, laugh all the time, run around in circles. We're grown-ups and we have responsibilities and we have problems and we have pressure. And you don't necessarily have to be happy to perform, especially if you're a man. Like women have this, I guess to a degree, they're born lucky. Women have this mindset where people expect women to be happy. Women need to be happy. But as a man, you have a burden of performance. As a man, you shouldn't be waking up going, how do I get happy?
There are 4 main ways to getting money. You either trade your time for money, you trade information for money, you give a product or service for money, or you put something to work for money. I'll say that again. We're going to go through them one by one. These are the main ways that money will arrive in your bank account. Remember what I just told you guys, the 4 main things about cash, how it works, how you attack it, identify where it's moving, etc. These are the 4 main ways money is made. First is time for money. Now this is what most jobs are. And there's nothing wrong with the job. A lot of people are going to come and say, quit your job. No, there's nothing wrong with having a job. And it's better than doing nothing. But this is the first level. This is the first level on how to make money. So what you do when you have a job is you give up your time to get some cash. So a guy will say, if you stand here all day, I'll give you X amount of money. And you agree. You give up your time to make money. The problem with giving up your time to make money is what? Who knows the problem with giving up your time to make money? I'll tell you the problem. The problem is you only have a certain amount of time. It's very difficult to get rich if you give up your time for money because you have a certain amount of time. You need to sleep. You need to eat. You got other stuff to do. You haven't got the time to sit there and get rich that way. So time for money is great. And obviously, the more valuable your time is, the better. That's fine. You can make more. But you still have a finite amount of time. And this is the problem with trading your time for money. Next is information for money. Now, the good thing about getting information for money is that your time is not explicitly linked. So if you do something like a video giving information, that one video, you can film it one time, but it can be given out or sold 1,000,000 times, and you get paid every single time. But your time is no longer linked to the money. So a lot of people make money purely on information. And it can be done lots of ways. It can be done with what I'm doing right now. I'm making money based on what I know right now. I am selling information to you people. I know information and I'm providing. There are also high-level consultants who do the same thing. Information is valuable. We live in the age of information. Another thing I want you to write down your notes. Some of the 2 most important things in the world today are information and attention. If you have information and you can get attention, you will be rich. Because if you can get attention, people are going to pay attention to you. And if you have information to give them, you're going to be rich. This webinar is an example of how me, a person who can attract attention, who has information, can make money. So information for money is better than time for money. Now, every single person sitting here, there must be something you know. You know something. You know something others don't know. It doesn't matter if it's how to play guitar. It doesn't matter if it's how to play piano. It doesn't matter if it's how to fix a car. It doesn't matter what it is. You must have some information that other people find useful. That information can be weaponized and it can be turned into money. We're going to get into how to do that later, but it's not actually very complicated. You need to garner attention. You need to produce the videos or the subject material or the PDFs or whatever you want to do. Explain to people what you know. You need to establish credibility so they understand that they can trust you and they will pay for your information. This is another way to get money, information. So keep that in mind, write that down. Because when you write down your piece of paper information, you also need to sit and think, what do I know that other people don't know? So there must be something you know, and that information is valuable. You have to convince people it's valuable and to come and buy it from you. Next, this is what most businesses do. They provide a product or a service for money. Now, this is different from information because even though if you provide a service, you have information. Let's say you fix cars. You know how to fix cars. You have that information. But you're not selling the information. You're selling the service, which is different. The information would be selling me a book on how to fix my own car. The service is coming here and to fix it for me. So a product or service selling for money. This is very, very simple. This is what most businesses do. They get a product or a service and they sell it for a market. Now, this is the way that most mega businesses make money. But in the modern world, it's quite difficult to do. And it's difficult to do because most products and services are monopolized. They're monopolized because everyone's already selling everything. And we live in a global economy now. And there's no product you can think of that I can't go to Amazon.com and find cheaper from China, and they'll sell it at a 1 penny, maybe 2 penny markup. So the product is getting harder unless you're very, very unique and you build a brand, which is something we're going to get into. The service is fine, but you know what the problem with service is? Service is once again linked to your time. If you're providing a service, you're still giving up your time for money. Do you understand? So the product angle is difficult, the service angle is difficult, the time angle is difficult. So far, the only angle we have will allow you to make money scalable out and beyond is information for money. Next, putting something else to do the work for you. Now, this is what corporations and the mega rich people do. They either get people to work for them or they get their money to work for them. So to keep their time free, they make other people or other things give up their time. So a company will come along. Let's look at the slides. A company will come along with a service. It will advertise its service. It will then hire people, number one. It will get people to work for them. And then those people will give up their time in exchange for a wage, give up their time in exchange for a wage, and the company will keep money. So the owner of that company, although he has to manage things, his time is not explicitly linked to income. Now the super wealthy, what the super wealthy people do is, they get their money to work for them. And if your money works for you, it's even better than people, because people need to be managed a lot more than money. Your money doesn't need to be managed. Money just works. So if you have millions of dollars and you put them in a 10%, you can get a 10% return or even a 3% return. You're going to be rich on the interest without doing anything. So making your money make you money is great, but you can only live off this money if you already have a lot of money. So let's go back through and analyze. Getting people to work for you is complicated setup because you actually need to sell a product or service to get most people to work for you. Also, you need to people manage. So for a long period of time, you're not going to have your time free. This is the first thing. Second thing, getting your money to work for you, you need a lot of money to live off the work your money does. You need a lot of money to get this to happen. Most people don't have enough money to put their money to work to live off. Now, you still should put your money to work. We're going to talk about it. You can't live off your money working.
I can never be depressed if I never slow down. Speed is extremely important. Speed defies gravity. How does a plane fly through the air and defy gravity? Speed. It's moving too fast to fall. If you're always attacking life, if you're always doing things, if you're always making more money, if you're always traveling the world, doing this, doing that, new car, here, there, new podcast, meeting James English, boom, boom, boom. If you're always doing things all the time, unhappiness can't catch you. But I also know that speed is a fantastic way to be happy all the time. I'm always looking forward to something. I wake up every day excited. I'll go do this today. I'll go do this today. I'll go do this today. And I very much live my life in a frame of, not I have to do this. It's very much I get to do this. There's another thing that a lot of people make a mistake with when I talk to them, like, I have to go to work today. Change your language. I get to go to work today. Imagine you had no job. It'd be worse, right? Because otherwise you wouldn't be working. So you get to go to work. I have to fix the car. At least you have a car. You get to fix your car. Most people don't got one. I have to go get the kids. You get to go get the kids because you have these beautiful children who love you. You understand? People's even their own language is wrong. The world can be framed. Maybe I'm completely crazy. Maybe I'm full of shit. Like you said. Maybe I am. But the frames I've installed in my mind are all beneficial to me. So if that makes me crazy and full of shit, good.
because I can't become depressed. So you can sit there and tell me I'm full of shit while you're depressed and I'm happy. And I would never want to adopt the thinking of a depressed person.
People will shield laziness with anything. No one wants to admit they're lazy. So they'll shield it with disbelief. That's a scam. Or I don't work hard, I work smart. Bollocks. More cover. Just anything it takes to say I don't want to work.
Do you believe in that? Work smarter, not harder?
I believe in both.
Yeah.
But there's a time when it comes to work smart. And most people are trying to do the smart work before they do the hard work. It's kind of like talent, right? You don't notice if you're talented at something until all the hard work's done.
Yep.
I could be the most talented tennis player in the world, but I don't play tennis. So if I go down the tennis court, Joe Schmo is going to smoke me. I don't get to see my talent until I've worked so hard that I'm in the top 1%, and now I'm beating them because I have some God-given gift.
Yeah.
You understand? You have to do the hard work first. If there's no hard work, there's no smart work. So someone's going to sit there and go, I work smart, I don't work hard, so I only have to work an hour a day. If working smart gets you a lot done in an hour a day, then you should work smart for 12 hours a day and get 12 times the work done. I am absolutely and utterly a believer in hard work. I'm a proponent of hard work. I have all this money and all I do is work. My entire life is work. This podcast is work. I'm getting in the car and going to another meeting, work. I want to go to the gym so I'm in good shape, work. It's all work. My entire life is work. And people don't want to look at life that way. They want to talk about work-life balance and being lazy and all this crap. I don't believe in any of that. I believe in if you want to win, you have to outcompete the man who's prepared to do nothing but work. It's player versus player. If you're going to sit there and go, I don't want to work more than an hour a day, well, the guy who does want to work more than an hour a day is going to beat you. And no matter how smart you are, there's always a smart dude who's doing the same smart work you are for more hours than you're doing it. That's just the nature of the game. The way that humans work and the way that we've evolved as a species is that we don't really learn lessons unless they're learned the hard way.
Yeah.
I believe that unless a lesson is taught the hard way, you're not going to learn it. You can have so many near misses that people won't learn their lesson. Bro, you must know a guy who goes out there, nearly crashes his car, doesn't slow his ass down until he wrecks it.
Yeah.
Like, this is how people are, right? So you need that pain for the lesson to sting enough to really genuinely go inside of your mind. And it's the same with everything. It's the same with driving a car or business. Truthfully, if you want to learn a lesson about business, you're going to have to suffer at some point, right? So we always say that most people are not successful with their first companies, X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. I get that. The truth is there's a lot of people who make a lot of money with their first company, but they just spunk it, act an idiot, and it all blows up in their face. And that's how you get the discipline on your fourth company, that when you have $3 million in the bank, you just leave it there. You know, and don't be done with it. So you need to go through some pain. You need to experience some negative things. You need to have to a degree some trauma to really even learn any lessons. So yeah, business studies, you're right. The book, that's not going to teach you anything about business. You need to get out there in the streets. You need to make mistakes. You need to suffer. You need to have the tax man knocking at your door. You got to deal with all that stuff so that you make sure it doesn't happen again. I really think that humans are stupid enough to only learn the hard way. And life really doesn't have to be that complicated. When you see somebody that has something you want, you just got to try and work out how they got it.
Yeah.
And that's the missing part. Most people see people with things they want, and they don't do the second half. They don't try and work out how they got that thing. Oh, my man has a Ferrari. Okay. I wish I had a Ferrari. Okay. They don't sit there and go for an hour, how did he get a Ferrari? It doesn't cross that part is the part they don't want to do, right? They just go, oh, he has a Ferrari, wish I had a Ferrari, and they go back to TV.
Yeah.
And that's why they lose. It's player versus player out here, man. It's on the street. It's not easy. For every dollar you make, for every pound you took it from someone else. You don't make money, you take money. People don't understand the way that money works. You're not the Federal Reserve. You can't create money from thin air. Every single pound in your bank is money you took from someone else. And when I say take, I don't mean it in a negative way. You might have convinced them to give it to you. You might have a coffee shop. I'll give you a nice coffee. You'll give me some money. Cool. But you still took his money, right? So if you're out here trying to take stuff from other people, don't you want to have a team? You want to do it by yourself? You want to be Rambo?
Because if you get two of you doing it.
You get two of you. That's right. So the whole idea of this lone soldier, this Rambo, I'll do it all by myself, that's all dead, bro. You need to have a team. It's player versus player. And for the same reason, if you were out here on the street and you want to defend yourself, you want your boys around you, it's the same thing with trying to get rich. And you're laughing with your boys.
Yeah.
The brokey days are great. And I'm not complaining about being rich. Obviously, I worked hard for this, and it's a fantastic life I live now. But I think without those brokey days, without those original days to compare it to, without that juxtaposition, then I don't think being rich would be fun at all. I think it's only fun because you can compare it to the days when you weren't rich. That's the only thing that makes it fun. The only thing that makes a $10,000 steak fun is that you can laugh saying how you never had 10 grand in your bank till you were 27 years old.
Yeah.
Like otherwise it's boring. Otherwise okay, steak. And I think if you're born with too much money, that you'll never truly be happy. I think you need the brokey days, they're the best days.
The most important thing, obviously, regarding anything you do in your life is your mindset. And that's the first lesson about this. It's the G mindset. You know, a lot of people message me saying, why did you call it G course? You could have called it something more serious. No, I like that name. I like G. That's what it is. It's a G mindset. We're going to learn something about ourselves. We're going to learn something about how do you view the world. Because in reality, how you view the world absolutely and utterly shapes how you react to the world, how you act in the world, how people view you. It's all down to how you view things. There's very few things in this life we actually have any control over. I learned all of the lessons I'm going to be teaching you the hard way. I didn't learn them in a course, so you guys are very, very lucky. I learned all this shit the absolute hard way. I came from absolutely nothing. There's a lot of rumors circulating online that, you know, my father was a world level chess player and that I got a lot of money from him and I came from a rich family, etc., etc. Absolutely not the case. My dad was a G, a straight G. He was in the military. He was based in England in the Air Force. My dad was actually recruited into the CIA. He was a spy. Now he's dead. I'm happy to say that. So my father worked for the intelligence services. He was based in England. He met my mum, pretty little white thing. He's a big black dude. So back then that was a taboo. He grabbed her, took her back to America with him. 3 beautiful offspring, me being the oldest. And then he continued with his life of being a G, which is pimping hoes and playing chess at world level and traveling the earth. He never had any large financial sums. He certainly didn't leave me a penny. He didn't have anything to leave. So all he left me with was with a mindset, and that mindset was enough that allowed me to build the life I wanted to build. My father never wanted to be fiscally rich. He never gave a shit about being rich. He cared about other things. If he wanted to be rich, he would have been extremely rich. And I personally decided I wanted to be rich, and all of the lessons that I'm going to be putting in this course, a lot are from him and a lot are from experiences of growing up poor, growing up in a single mother household, growing up in social housing, the projects in England. When my mother and father split, I was 9 years old, I went to England, becoming a world level athlete and now becoming a self-made multimillionaire. So all of these lessons I've learned absolutely the hard way. And if you disagree with anything in this video, that is your prerogative, but I can absolutely assure you, I know what I'm fucking talking about. I know what I'm talking about. I've lived an extreme life. There's a lot of people online who give out advice, that's fine. But I've lived an extreme life, more extreme than most. I have been in a single mother, my mum crying because she can't pay the bills, broke as a joke. I've been a multimillionaire. I've been a nobody. I've been famous. I've been a world level athlete. I've started from nothing with a point where I had to run to the gym because I didn't even have a car to get there. I've done it all. So I've lived a very extreme life, and this is where these lessons come from. So when I talk about G mindset is absolutely and utterly the most important thing. This is actually quite funny. A girl I was dating once, she said to me, you know, you remind me of RuPaul. And RuPaul is a famous fucking drag queen, so it's not very good. I was like, why? She goes, because he has a saying, he said, I always knew I was famous. I had to wait for the rest of the world to catch up. And she goes, you have the same mindset. And she said this to me before I had nothing, because I told everyone I'm going to be world champion. Years before I even had a British title, before I even had an English title, I just started fighting. And I was like, oh, I'm the next world champion. Yeah. And I just started saying it, but I said it with genuine conviction. I knew I would be the best. I genuinely knew I would be the best. You have to understand that this world, everyone constantly tells you, do not be arrogant. Do not have an ego. When I had my Twitter, I put my ego into overdrive because I found it entertaining. But people will constantly tell you to not talk in a way which is full of conviction. People do not like you to be arrogant and have an ego. This is the worst thing ever. Let me tell you a fact, the number one facet of the G mindset. Your life is never going to be worse if you walk through the world believing you are the fucking man. You wake up, look in the mirror and go, I'm the fucking man. I am the man. There's no one on this planet who can do shit I couldn't do if I put my mind to it. I don't give a fuck how good you are at piano. If I decide to play piano, I would be better than you at piano. And I believe that. I don't just say these things, I fucking believe them. And when you go through life believing you really, really are the man, there are very few downsides. The downsides are everyone's going to call you an arrogant, everyone's going to call you arrogant, everyone's going to call you a dickhead, everyone's going to say he has a big ego. You're going to lose a few loser friends. Who cares? What you are going to gain is other people on the same path. You're going to gain other people who think, yeah, well, I'm the fucking man too. This guy's the man. Let's make some money. That's what's going to happen. So the first thing you can do with your G mindset is you need to start believing you are the fucking man. Even if you're not the man yet, even before I was world champion, I knew I was going to be the man. So I don't give a fuck. And I was happy to say that to anybody. When people called me arrogant and stupid and deluded, I just sit there and look at them and say, yeah, fuck you. I'm going to be the man. And this is how now, when my life's kind of come full circle, this is quite interesting. I'll tell you a very quick story. When I was 19, I think I had a sales job, and I had to drive down to a sales meeting to try and sell some advertising. I had a really old shitty car. No, I must have been older than 19. I was about 21. I had this old shit car and I'm driving. And as I'm driving my car, and I couldn't afford to have it fixed, I had a bump in the front. The front was all fucking caved in. So I had to park it away from the sales meeting and then walk to the sales meeting. So I'm driving this car. Anyway, pull up next to me at the lights. Red light, pull up next to me. In a fucking Tuesday morning, 10 o'clock, music blasting. Drop top Aston Martin with a Swedish number plate. Some fucking dude about 30 with a hot blonde next to him. And I remember looking at him thinking, who the fuck's this guy? Like, here I am with my broken car on my way to fucking do a shit job. I can't afford to fix my car. This guy is from fucking Sweden, and he's just driven to England, and he's got a Swedish plate, and he's got this hot bitch, and he's got music pumping, and he's on his way to have lunch. Like, where the fuck did my life go wrong? I want to be like that guy. And I think this every single time I live in Romania now. Now I drive around Romania in my fucking Lamborghini or my Aston Martin or my Ferrari or my Bentley, whichever one I decide to drive. And they all have English number plates. And I always have a girl with me. And people look at me and people are giving me the exact same look I gave that guy. People looking at me like, who the fuck's this guy from England who just drove here from England? I'm standing at the bus stop about to go to work. And this guy's got a $250,000 car and a hot bitch on his way to have lunch with music blaring. And the reason I managed to go full circle is those small events in my life, seeing someone else with more success than me, ingrained in my brain. And to a lot of people, it doesn't ingrain in their brain. I was walking to school. If I was walking to college with my friends, I used to have to walk. I went to a college on the other side of town, so I had to walk 4.6, I think it was, fucking miles to college. It was a fucking nightmare. So I used to walk. Halfway, I meet some other people, and towards the end, there'd be a group of 5 or 6 of us along the way. And when I met, and one day a Ferrari burnt past us, and everyone else was like, oh yeah, Ferrari. I'm like, and I remember saying to the group, I was only 18, I said, doesn't it annoy you that this guy has a fucking 300,000 pound car and we'll probably never have one? And they're like, oh yeah, it's only a car. I'm like, no, you don't understand. There is a life hack. There's something happening where people are living lives that other people don't get to live. There's something happening. There's something going on. I want to have a 300,000 pound car. I want it. And no one else wanted it. These little events didn't ingrain in their brain. A Ferrari driving past me bothered me. And it bothered me to my core, to the point where I decided I would do anything it takes to have one. Whereas other people just saw it and carried on with their normal lives. This is the reason I have 6 or 7 supercars and other people don't. Because these small events ingrained in my brain. So this is the second thing. G mindset. First thing you have to believe you're the fucking man, you can achieve anything. And when I say that, I'm going to say that again. You have to believe you're the fucking man. And you have to believe you can achieve anything. I'm not saying you can achieve anything easily. I'm not saying it's not going to take a whole bunch of work. I'm not saying it's going to happen quickly. But you have to believe you can achieve anything. I'll tell you something now. I don't give a fuck if it's being an astronaut. I don't care about climbing Mount Everest. You give me enough time to train, I will get it done. I know that for a fact because I know who I am as a man. That's the first thing. The second thing is you need to be perspicacious. You need to understand that in this world there's a whole bunch of people doing amazing shit that you are not doing. And that needs to piss you off. Because if it pisses you off, you become motivated all of a sudden. I was the only one who was pissed off when that Aston Martin was next to me and I had my sales job. I was the only one who was pissed off when I saw that Ferrari drive past. Other people were not annoyed by it. And when they're not annoyed by it, they're not driven to be it. You understand? They're not driven to be where that person was. You need to be annoyed, and I'm telling you to be angry. Anger is a fantastic force. Like I said, the world tells you not to be arrogant, it tells you not to be angry. It's 2 things it tells you to do. Don't be arrogant, don't have an ego, and you don't have anger. You're a fucking man. You're a full-grown man. It's perfectly fine for you to be pissed off. It's perfectly fine for you to look around at your life. Look at the girl you're fucking, look at the house you live in, look at the car you drive, and get pissed off and go, you know what, I want a hotter bitch, I want a fucking nicer house, I want a faster car. There's nothing wrong if you take that anger and you direct it in the correct direction. This is the reason I stopped fighting now. People go, why do you stop fighting? That's because I fought and I went through hell to get everything I now have. I had nothing when I fought. I had nothing. And I wanted the life I now have. Now I wake up in one of my 3 mansions with one of my 7 supercars and one of my 15 women. What do I need to fight for? Like, people have different motivations for different things. There's some fighters out there who fight for other reasons, you know? But my motivation was I was pissed off at the world. And now I'm not as angry as I used to be, so I don't believe I'm as good a fighter as I used to be. I'll still whoop some ass, but I'm not as good as I used to be. So that's why I decided to retire early. But this is the second thing. So the first thing, believe you're the man. Second thing, you need to get angry about your situation. If you've bought this course and you're watching it and you're sitting there, right now you're watching it and you look around you and you don't own the home you're in, get pissed off. If there ain't a Ferrari on your drive, get pissed off. If you don't have 10 Playboy Bunny level beauties, get pissed off. And what the fuck, you need to sit there and realize, whoa. I have a few years of consciousness, and even less than that, I have a few short years as a young man, because age will damage you. I mean, if you're a millionaire when you're 60, it's not nearly as good as being a millionaire at my age. I became a millionaire at 28. So, you need to realize you got a few short years as a young man, you're fucking wasting them. You need to sit there and go, fuck, shit, get angry. Because getting angry, forced, directed anger is an extremely powerful force. So these are the first two things you need to do for a G mindset. This is the third thing, and this is a very, very important thing, because I try and explain this to people and they don't seem to understand it. So I'm going to make this very, very blunt. Nobody, absolutely nobody, gives a fuck about you as much as you're going to have to give a fuck about yourself. Nobody cares about you as much as they need to care to fix your life. Even your parents, even your friends, even all the people who think they care about you, they care about you. Yeah, sure, there may be 2 or 3 people on the planet who genuinely care about you. But nobody is going to come to your bed, drag you out of bed, fucking drag you to a job, force you to work hard, go and get you a hot bitch and go and buy you a Ferrari. Nobody is going to do that for you. You are never going to have any of the things you want if you do not get them yourself. Nobody cares about you enough to do it for you. This is absolutely true. Personally, I'm an atheist. And when I say I'm an atheist, people seem to be a bit confused by this. I don't know why that surprises people, but I'm absolutely not really an atheist. And the reason I'm an atheist is because I believe that there is no grand plan. There's no God in the sky looking out for me. I don't believe that there's anyone here to save me on this planet or in the sky or anywhere else. I am me. I was born. I have, maybe if I'm lucky, 70, because I'm quite big. When you're physically large, you die sooner. 70 years of consciousness. And these years I experienced, the only person who's going to make them fun and exciting and interesting, the only person who's going to make me happy and live a life that I want to live is me. Nobody's going to do it for me. No God has a plan for me. There's no one else who wakes up each day and goes, you know what? I want to make Andrew Tate's life better. I want to get him more pussy and more money. No one thinks that about me. No one thinks that about you either. Nobody thinks that about you. The only person who gives a shit about your life truly is you. And if you don't give a shit, then you're fucked. But point 2, get angry. You're going to start giving a shit very soon. And after you get angry, you need to realize that nobody is going to give you the things you want. It doesn't matter if Donald Trump is president or not. I'm a huge Trump fan, but it doesn't make a difference. No politician is going to make you rich. No one else is going to come along and say, I'm going to concentrate my effort on fixing your life. Nobody. You have to understand you are out here alone, absolutely alone. And when you understand these 3 things, you start to see how a mindset comes together. Nobody's going to save you. You're fucked. It's totally down to you. You're pissed off with your current situation and you want to change it. Plus, you believe you can do absolutely anything. This is how I thought at 18 years old. This is how I achieved so much in the short years. This is how I went from a nobody to a world level athlete and a multimillionaire. Also, people confuse the two. Kickboxing is not boxing. I made across my entire career in kickboxing maybe about 700,000. I now have about 8 or 9 million. This was not made in kickboxing. This was made in other ventures. I have managed to be a world level athlete and an extremely successful businessman at exactly the same time. Because at a very young age, when I had my prime resource of energy and power at 18, 19 years old, I understood those 3 tenets. I believe I can do anything. I'm pissed off I don't have the life I want. And nobody else is going to give it to me. These are 3 things you need to understand. If any one of these elements is missing, you'll never have the right mindset. The G mindset will never formulate if any one of these elements is missing. All 3 are absolutely essential. And the sooner you get your act together, the sooner you start to panic and worry and be concerned that you're 24 or 25, you're not fucking rich yet. There's 24 and 25-year-olds out there who got a contract for fucking NBA, or their parents, or they won the lottery, or who knows what. There's 24 and 25-year-olds out there who are multimillionaires fucking the hot models. These Instagram girls with 3 million followers, they're getting dicked by someone and it ain't you. And that needs to piss you off. You need to get concerned, you need to get worried, you need, shit, I'm running out of time. You need to get some urgency in your life. Put these 3 things together is absolutely essential. This is the beginning of the G mindset. When you have these 3 things totally done, I'll tell you what happens. I'll tell you what happened for me. So I became a sayer. So my brother used to say, you've become a sayer. And what that means is I made a pact to him that my word was unbreakable, strength and honor. And that if I said something, I meant it. So I'd wake up in the morning and I'd say to my brother, I'm doing 1,000 press-ups today. Once I said it, once I spoke it, it's like a genie, it became true. If I said I was going to do 1,000 press-ups, I'd do them. Because if I didn't do them, I'd feel guilty within myself that I was the kind of person who talks shit. Because G's don't talk shit. So the 3 tenets we've already learned, when you've instilled these in your mind, you don't want to be the kind of person who talks shit. So if I woke up to my brother and said, I'm doing 1,000 press-ups or I'm running 20 miles today, I would do it. Because if I didn't do it, I'd feel like a dickhead. Because when you instill these mindsets, when your mindset changes, you start to be extremely accountable for yourself. No one's coming to save you. You become extremely accountable. So when you realize that your word is one of the few things you have on this planet, if you say things, you're going to start sticking to them. So then it becomes very easy to train. You say, I'm going to train every day this week. I'm going to train for 2 hours a day. As soon as you said it, it's basically done. If I say something, it's basically done. It's set in stone. If I say something, I'm going to do it. There's no way I'm going to say some words and speak them into existence on this planet. And then I'm going to be the kind of pussy who quits because it's too hard. If I say I'm going to do 10,000 push-ups, I'm going to do it. Because I'm the kind of person who sticks to the words he says. And this is another thing you need to understand with the G mindset. You have to be very, very specific with what you say. Because if you instill your mindset correctly and you start to just say things, just start saying things. Then you hold yourself accountable. Say things you don't even think you want to do. Wake up and go up to your friend or your mom or whoever and say, you know what? I'm going to do 1,000 push-ups today. Say it to people. And they're going to say, no, you're not. So watch me. And then you have a choice. You're either going to succeed like a G or you're going to be a little pussy. And you're going to quit at 310 because it's hard. What kind of man are you? That's a decision you need to make. But if you're the kind of man I was, I'd say shit and I'd fucking stick to it. My brother said, you become a sayer. I used to train with my brother. He'd say, let's do 500. I'd say, let's do 2,000. And he'd say, well, you've said it now, so we have to do it. I was like, exactly. I said it now, so now we have to do it. There is no surrender. We have to do it. This is another facet of the G mindset. This is number 4. You got to start saying shit, and your word has to be iron, unbreakable. This translates across everything in life. It's not just training. It translates across everything in life, even relationships. I say to my girlfriend, stop fucking with me or you're out the house. Men say that all the time in arguments, and then they continue to argue for 2 hours. They'll say that, and then they'll argue. If I say that, and she continues to talk shit, I start throwing her shit out the fucking door, because I said it. And if I say something, I mean it. If I look a man in his eyes and say, I'm gonna whoop your ass, shut up, and he continues to talk, I have to kick his ass. I'm careful with what I say. If I tell him to shut up and he doesn't shut up, that's a different thing. If I say shut up or I'm gonna whoop your ass and he continues to talk, I will fuck him up. Because I'm the kind of person, if I say something, I mean what I say. I'm specific with my language, and I mean every word I speak. This is another tip. This is number 4. You have to start meaning every word you speak. You say to someone, I'm going to get rich. You better fucking do it. Otherwise, you're a liar. You're a liar, and you're a little bitch. If you say, I'm going to put some muscle on, you better fucking do it. You say, I'm going to lift this weight, you better fucking do it. You say, I'm going to go get this girl, you better go get her. You got to be the kind of person who says things and means them. You promise a guy you're going to whoop his ass, you better whoop his ass. Don't be a person. 99% of the people out here talk shit. They say things they half mean or things they don't mean. If I say something, I fucking mean it. And this is number 4. This is the 4th element. You've heard the first 3. This is number 4. Everything you say, you must mean. And once you implement that correctly, then you get the ability to motivate yourself to no end. You get unlimited motivation because all you have to do is find the energy to say it. You find the energy to say it, then you have to do it. It's literally that easy. I'd wake up in the morning and say, Tristan, we're running 20 miles today. And you'd say, oh, for fuck's sake. That's nearly a marathon. I'm like, yep, let's go. It doesn't matter if it takes all fucking day. I said it. And if I say something, it has to happen. This is the 4th tenet and one of the most important ones because that is the power to unlimited motivation. And that's the power to be taken seriously across all spheres of your life. Be specific with your language. I was in a restaurant the other day. Some guy was arguing with his girlfriend. And they were talking shit. He's like, you better be quiet. You better be quiet. He kept saying you better be, but there was no threat at the end of it. I didn't really like that. Like, if you're going to make a threat, make a fucking threat, idiot. But my point is, he's trying to make a threat, but he has no threat at the end because it's empty and the bitch is ignoring him. All these things translate across your entire sphere. Or if you say to a girl or a guy, you better be quiet or else, and then you don't follow through, they're going to remember that shit. Even on a subconscious level, they're going to remember that shit, and your word's going to be devalued. My word has value. Literally, I can go into, let's say, the Ferrari dealership I get my cars from. I can say, I'll pay you tomorrow, and shake his hand. He'll give me the car. He knows me. I can go and get my car fixed and say, I'll be back on Monday. I got something to sort out. He'll shake my hand. I don't lie. If I say I'll be back on Monday and I don't have money on Monday, I'll rob a bank to make sure I have money on Monday because I fucking said I'd be there to pay. This is the kind of person you need to be. So these are the first 4 elements to the G mindset. And when these sound like simple things, but to implement them correctly, truly and correctly in your mind will change your entire view of the world. You'll start to look at everything completely differently. When you implement these 4 things correctly, when you say, if I say something, I'm going to do it, my word is iron-willed. When you say that nobody is ever coming to save me, ever. When you say that I'm pissed off, I don't have the life I want to have. And you couple that with, I believe I can do anything. If you truly believe all of these 4 things, it's going to change your entire view of this planet. I'll wrap up quickly with probably my most famous tweet when I had Cobra Tate. They verified me and everything, and I spoke too much truth, so I had to go. When my most famous tweet was when I said depression wasn't real. And I had A-list celebrities. I had the girl from Game of Thrones. I had fucking literally A-list guys. Who's that dude from No Country for Old Men? And he was a bad guy in Bond as well. I actually quite liked him as an actor until he came for me. I was having arguments with all these people, and everyone's telling me how dangerous my mindset is. What is dangerous about believing that you control your own mind? Because if you implement the 4 things I've just told you, depression becomes garbage. Depression's not a thing anymore. Feeling depressed is real. You can be depressed with your situation. I just told you, number 2, get depressed. That's fine. But believing you can fix it yourself is the important key. Sitting there believing that depression is some monster from the sky that strikes your brain and now you have no control over it and you must take pills every day is the absolute enemy to a G mindset. I don't give a fuck how depressing my situation. The only person who can change it is me. The only person who can change how I feel about my situation or try and affect the situation directly is me. Even if you put me in a situation I can't change, if you put me in jail and I'm depressed because I'm in jail, I still refuse to succumb to depression. I refuse to collapse mentally and give up. I know the only person who can control my mind is me. Nobody's coming to save me. No doctor with a pill is coming to save me. Depression isn't real. Depression is a state of mind designed to motivate you to find a life that doesn't depress you any further. That's all it is. Now you have to decide, are you man enough to go and get it done, or are you going to sit around and cry? And depression, the reason I talk about depression a lot is because depression in the Western world is the cure-all. It's the cure-all excuse. This is what people are using. My life's shit because I'm depressed. No, you're depressed because your life is shit. It's the other way round, and you're refusing to acknowledge that, and you want to sit there and live a shit life and pretend that some disease has struck you. And the reason you know that's bullshit, anyone out there who's depressed, I'll tell you something, you're not depressed, you're a coward. And the reason you're a coward is as follows. You desperately try to defend this crippling ailment you have. When I tell you depression isn't real, you message me pages and pages desperate to convince me I'm wrong, that depression is a real thing and that your life is terrible and this ailment has destroyed your life because you're desperate to defend your excuse. If depression was really terrible, you wouldn't want to defend it. If depression was really so bad and I'm telling you it's not real and I know how to fix you, and if you implement a mindset like mine, you become immune to depression. If depression was so terrible, you'd listen to me and think, I need to try what this guy does. I need to do. If he's immune to depression and it's impossible to depress him, I need to be like this man. But instead, no, you don't want to do that. You want to call me names and sit and defend this ailment because you know it's garbage. It's your excuse. It's your blanket. It's your shield. It's your excuse you get to pull out every time you look at your failure of a life. And that's why depression is absolutely and utterly not real. And anyone who's bought this course who thinks they're depressed, I'll tell you something now, drop that coward bullshit. If you're watching this and you're depressed, drop and give me 200 press-ups. Do 200 press-ups. Look in the mirror, look in your eyes, and tell yourself you're the fucking man, and drop that garbage, because you can get absolutely nowhere in your life if you believe in that crap. Depression absolutely isn't real. And you're going to say this to people, and they're going to fucking go nuts at you. And they're going to call you arrogant, and they're going to call you all the things they called me. But your life is going to be a life worth living. Implement the 4 things I've told you, the 4 important tenets of a G mindset. Understand, nobody's coming to save you. Depression isn't real. You'll change your entire worldview once these 4 things are implemented correctly, and then we can move on to everything else.
Join us on Patreon for no ads videos.